it's more entertaining. It's more convenient, to see the guy that, produced a lot and had recruiters coming to see him at school. And, the immediate attribution to that based off of societal norms is that this guy did it, so he has to know what he's talking about. This other guy didn't do it the conventional way, had to put in 3 times as much work, had to put in 3 times as much effort, had to do things that nobody else had to do. So he must clearly not know what I need to do because I'm probably more like this guy. It's so much of it has to do with that self-reflection and, that self-perception that however they view themselves and then whatever those goals are that they want to accomplish, that's who they're going to most likely see themselves in and be more likely to believe. Now, fortunately, I've had the privilege of having these guys that have been successful, whether it be high school teammates that went and played somewhere else or my college teammates that have backed me up, in person or on social media. So now there's a lot of that like, oh, okay, you kind of do know what you're talking about. I'll go ahead and listen to you.
We're talking.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Rams outstanding in the red zone thus far. They go 1st and 10 from the 14. Warner, pump fake. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Isaac Bruce.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Montana, Rice is there.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
George fakes, throw, touchdown Carter.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Following him in his quest for home run number 400. Long drive, right field, way back, near the wall, and there it is! Home run number 400, Carl Yastrzemski. Now, listen and watch.
Here's Paul Catalina and Craig Smoke.
Episode number 80 of SicEm365 Radio. Welcome in. Paul and Craig here with you. Smokey will be back on Monday. Just actually talked to him on the phone in Florida, and he's enjoying his time away, Craig. But we've got something to get to here in this first hour. We've got Eddie Lackey here coming up at 3:30. And, of course, Grayson Grundhafer, SicEm365.com at 3:45. And then something that doesn't happen very much, we have a couple hours open, so we'll open it up. We'll bring up some topics. But opening day in baseball last night, opening day continues today. Craig, did you watch any baseball last night?
I watched a little bit. I did not sit down and really delve too much into it. I just, maybe it was the fact that the Rangers weren't playing, so tonight that'll hook me a little bit more. But I think maybe I've just gotten so used to not having anything that it was just go home and kind of react normally. But no, I watched a little bit. It's definitely different, but it's good to have baseball back. Just saw a note where apparently 4 million people watched the Yankees game last night, which is the highest opening day, I think, mark that they've had in several years. So I've seen some baseball guys actually kind of try to go around and dunk on some people of like, oh, I thought the sport was dying. And it's like, dudes, you're really running a victory lap after one night? Because I can guarantee you we're going to check in about a month, and those are not going to be the same numbers. That was very much an opening night, big money teams, big money stars, and the fact that we haven't had baseball in so long. So I think that helped aid that number. But, hey, hopefully, it does stay that way, and baseball writers can dunk a bit more because that means that people are watching the game. That's what they need right now, and it's just great to have it all back.
Yeah, it's absolutely, for me, it's great. I did not watch the Dodgers. I'm not emotionally ready to to have that happen. By the way, Smokey sent me a text right as he walked up to the plate, now batting number 50, Mookie Betts. And they're like, now batting for the Dodgers. Like, now, and I sent him back, now crying on his couch, Paul Catalina.
Yeah.
But,
well, better get used to it because he's going to be in that
13
uniform for forever. So,
listen, I'm sure by year 10 or 11, I'll be over it. But
I'm not that dude. I don't know if I've just been in this business too long, but I just do not care about a player that way anymore. I'm almost envious in a way because you still have that fan, and I do to an extent, but I'm also probably a bit jaded now as far as that goes. I mean, when you're a Josh Hamilton fan, which, hey, I knew the risk going in, but you ultimately end up disappointed. And when you're a Yu Darvish fan and then he gets traded away, and then you're a this guy fan and then he gets traded away, it's like all of my favorite players either end up, in some sad story or they end up floundering or flourishing elsewhere other than the team that I originally rooted for. So, and I just haven't really attached myself to anybody anymore.
And it takes a lot, but I'll tell you. So in 2018, 2 years ago, when they won the World Series, I went to Boston that year. I saw them play here. I saw them play in Houston. I saw them play in New York City. So I saw them play a lot that year, and every game Mookie was great. So I think that my enjoyment for him as a player went through the roof just because every time I saw them, the 7 times or 8 times I saw them that year, he was fantastic. And so he made the game better. And so, I became such a huge fan of his. It's just upsetting. It's also upsetting in the fact that it's not so much that. It's just when a player of that caliber leaves the team, it's not so much just the player. It's what he represents for the team going forward it's not going to be as fun as it was when he was there.
Right.
That's it. That you just, he's gone. And it's not like he retired or he was bad. It's when they leave in their prime, that's what really stings a lot. As a matter of fact, 254-339-1122 on the Riverbend text line. What's the player that's left the team that's gutted you the most? That's what I'd like to know. That just gutted you. That you're in a state like I am about Mookie Betts. But other things going on right now. NFL camps are scheduled to open on time, Craig, pending okay from the players. And the 80-man roster deadline is August 16th before padded practice begins, but teams can have 90-man rosters if they go with a split squad setup, and some teams have plans to split squads and use the stadium and the regular practice facilities. The salary cap remains the same for 2020, and there's a cap floor of $175 million in 2021 with a possibility of being higher based on revenue streams. And that's a key thing. I was talking to an ex-player. I was on a conference call for another thing, and I'll announce that later when I can, but with an ex-player today, and he was talking about this is something the players are going to have to fully agree to because the salary cap could be greatly affected by this next year. If they lose games, if all that, the players are going to have to agree to it again.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten too much into the details of it. When we start talking too much of the business side, I just kind of lose interest on CBAs and, all these legalities. I keep track of it, obviously, but, bottom line is we're moving forward towards training camps. There are still some things to be ironed out. It looks like they're making progress, though. The players clearly want to play. They just want some reassurances on what exactly that's going to look like. So they've, voted to recommend these CBA changes. And, yeah, you're going to have a different salary cap and things like that. But, the bottom line is they're at least making some progress, it appears. They've got this proposal now. I think there's obviously, as you mentioned, some kinks to work out of it. But, yeah, I mean, the NFL's had a long time now to get prepared for all of this. And so it's kind of funny to see them scrambling a little bit now that their season is basically right around the corner. I mean, we're not that far away. I mean, we're about to hit August, for God's sake. So, I mean, NFL training camps would be going on right now in Oxnard. They would be about to start, if not already having started for the Cowboys out in Oxnard here in the last week of June. So, yeah, it's just, it's kind of to me, a little bit of an uninteresting back and forth, the executive committee and the players. But I know that there's rabid NFL fans out there who are probably all in on this and want to know how this is going to work out. But good news is we're going to have training camp soon, it looks like.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to get through some things. And, I keep waiting to hear maybe something on locally here if McLennan County is going to do anything to open that back up. So, but no news on that just as of yet.
No, I haven't seen anything since yesterday when we talked about it with Alan Hare. I know that interview got passed around a little bit. I have not seen anything from McLennan County as of today. I would think if they're going to make any type of a decision on changing what they originally put out there earlier this week, which is going to make for some canceled games for a lot of teams, then they got to get that ball rolling. I mean, if there's no chance of it happening, we might as well be told that right now. But if there is a chance, then it's something that needs to be done by early next week, because early next week, we're in the last week of July. You've already told some teams that you had to cancel, so you hope that maybe if you get some good news that you can call those teams back and they haven't filled that spot yet. But I don't know. I don't know if there is even an option for them to maybe scale this back a little bit and allow these teams to play more of their games, or to at least allow these teams to practice in a more normal way. So, it was great news yesterday for some schools. It was terrible news for the McLennan schools, just because you're that friend who can't go outside right now and play, and you're staring through the window watching your buddies go out there and play, and you're wondering why you can't either. And quite frankly, your parents don't really have that great of an explanation, because this thing they're talking about, well, the next door neighbor doesn't seem to be fazed by it. And I get, look, testing numbers, and I even mentioned towards the end of the show a couple days ago that the difference between Bell and McLennan, Bell has definitely had more cases, had more deaths. For a while there, they were popping like 100 daily because of, Killeen and Temple and just all the people packed in there. But I guess if you were to make an argument against McLennan County, it was that the positivity rate was a little bit higher, and maybe even higher than like the threshold that you would like, which I don't even know what that is because I've been told so much different information. But maybe that's the reason why. But even then, is it enough of a difference to go to the extreme lengths that you're going to versus what others are doing? I don't know that it is. And so I think that's the clarity those coaches are searching for. Hopefully they get that. And hopefully we get a firm final, hey, this is what's going to happen no matter what. We're not changing. Hopefully we get something like that by early next week.
Yeah. No, I think so. I hope so. And what I think Alan Hare made the great point of, if they shut it down, you're talking about 42 days that they can't work out, where other counties will be able to work out. And then you're going to play those kids that have been working out for twice as long as you have. And then you've got other problems on your hand, like injuries, which are going to happen anyway, but you're more likely to happen if you're not in shape. And secondarily, I just don't I don't get the rush to close something if there's not any new information that's that's saying these workouts are affecting anything.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's what I
don't know. It's I read the same things that most people read. I don't know what information those people are getting because they're talking to actual medical doctors and things like that. I mean, we honestly, we could burn all 3 hours talking about the different type of information that we're receiving from this party versus the different type of information we're receiving from this party. If I watch the local news, then I'm scared to ever leave the house. If I watch Clay Travis, then I'm ready to grab the American flag and go bolting out my door in USA boxers and go to the movies and go to the theme park and shake people's hands, So it's it's extremes. And I'm just really somewhere in the middle. I take the numbers for what they are. I don't always know what they mean. I don't always believe they actually mean what they're supposed to be trying to portray. So, like I said the last couple of days, I wear my mask, I wash my hands, I try to be smart. Hopefully everybody is as well. But, as far as making a decision and taking in all that information to determine what's best for these young players, women too, or girls too, because of the women's sports, but it's for all these athletes. That's a tough position to be in. It's easy for us to sit there and point at the principal or the superintendent or the athletic director and be like, why didn't you do this? They got to not only worry about just the community, but they got to worry about those kids. And so it's a tough decision they're having to make. I'm glad I'm not the one making it. But, like I said, we'll see what happens with McLennan County, hopefully by Monday.
Yeah. And again, it's just, it is how it is. In an email, we didn't get to this yesterday because I think it came out right after the show, but Baylor students all must test negative for COVID-19 before heading to campus.
Makes
in
sense.
the fall. So there's a lot of different things to that, but
I mean, yeah, you don't want anybody positive showing up and screwing up everything that you've done. So, yeah, like I don't know how they're going about getting everybody a test, or if you just got to do that on
There's
your own.
some kind of take-home tests or things like that.
Yeah, which who knows how? Like, then again, how accurate are those really? Are those even popping the right results or whatever? But no, I mean, that makes sense to have everybody get tested before they arrive, because they're about to be in a little biodome of sorts. They'll be all over town, but really they'll be focused in on that campus and the surrounding neighborhoods where all the college housing is. So, I mean, the numbers we're seeing right now, it's people in their 20s that's spiking. That's the group. And so this is the group we're also talking about. And any precautions you can take, I think, are well worth it. So that's good to know that they're going to have all those tests available.
Yeah. By the way, got a text on the Riverman text line. They don't need to tell us there's no chance of it changing. We know that already. What makes you think they'll change? How often do they have to repeat it for you to get it? LOL. It's not that. It's just we got some information yesterday that shows that there's at least some movement towards a dialogue to maybe copy Bell County's procedures.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting here hoping for anything.
No,
I'm not wishing for anything. I don't think anything's going to change. I'm just saying if something were to change, then it would have to happen by Monday because of the scheduling and things like that. The reason we're even talking about it is because of the fact that when Alan Hare was on with us yesterday, he made some comments about the conversations they had in Bell County versus the conversations, or lack thereof, they didn't apparently have in McLennan until after a decision was made. So just based on some of the feedback we got, led us to believe that, maybe there would be some further discussion with that, whether that would change anything or not. Not banking on that, not betting on that. I'm going forward with what the decision was a few days ago, but just saying if there was a chance for it to maybe change, then it would have to happen soon. That's all that we're saying right there.
All right, so here's more COVID news, and then we'll get out of this in a minute. Just trying to recap things as the show starts. This just came down from ESPN.com and Adam Rittenberg. The entire Michigan State football team is in a 14-day quarantine.
Oh, great.
Because a second staff member, and one athlete tested positive for COVID-19. So the university designated living areas to house individuals in quarantine as needed based upon the living arrangements for student athletes. So, so they're all in quarantine for 14 days now. So what happens? See, and that brings up the question: is what happens if that happens during the season?
I mean, we're screwed, Paul.
Does a game get canceled or postponed?
Of course. I mean, they can't play. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
Is it postponed or do you just cancel it?
I don't know, man.
That's the thing. There's so many questions.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea on anything. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, like if you have your entire team getting quarantined, there's nobody to play a game, so you're not playing a game. Luckily, they're not playing a game in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, that's not great for Michigan State. It's not great for college football, who's hoping for lots of low test numbers and things like that. But I mean, it's just the reality of where we are. So sucks for them, and hopefully they'll get through this 2 weeks and be A-okay. But that's kind of a bummer if you're a Spartans fan.
Yeah, it really is. Well, and it's just one of those things that we're going to have to keep hearing about it forever and ever and ever until this is over. So, what's going to, and we don't that's the thing. I think the most that the universities are going to have to work on is, okay, how do you build that into the schedule? You can't, because it's 2 weeks. So,
well, that's why they're hoping. Yeah. That's why with the schedule, they're trying to get some of those games with breaks in between, so that if you have to move games around because of what we're talking about here, that you would have the flexibility to do that. So the problem with that being is that if you have already canceled the first month, there's no bye weeks. There's maybe one that a team has. So that's why you didn't have to extend the season, and then you're playing into January. So that you have some buffer. Like that's all. Again, that's just maybe it happens that way, maybe it doesn't, but. Yeah, that's one of those questions that we do not have an answer to right now. If this were to happen right as the season is scheduled to start, then that would be messed up for the first 2 weeks of Michigan State opponents. That would be messed up for them. I don't know how you make up those games. I don't know how you do any of that, and that's what they're trying to figure out right now. So that's why they get paid the big bucks, and I'm just here commenting on their decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't they give us some money and let us come up with an idea? And if they take it, how about? This would be fun, Craig. A submission contest.
Submission contest.
Like we all come up with an idea for them to figure out the season, and if they pick ours, we win some money.
Yeah, that I mean, whatever it would take to do that, that's fine by me. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the reality, with the testing and this stupid virus that won't go away. So, we're gonna get lots of stories like this, and it's not even a surprise at this point. It doesn't even make me blink. You could say, the entire SEC is on lockdown for 2 weeks. I wouldn't even move upon that news. I'm numb to it all right now. So. Yeah, it stinks for Michigan State.
All right, so the Blue Jays finally have a home, Craig, and it's the one that everybody thought would be at the first. They were trying to get a major league facility because obviously you want those amenities for yourself, but they're going to play at their AAA affiliate, the Buffalo Bison's home stadium, and that's where they're going to be. And they were, the Orioles were going to let them come and play some of their games there in September. I don't know how it would be fair. Like, if you're the Blue Jays, I would think that the Buffalo option, once Pittsburgh got shot down, to me, would have been the best thing just because you at least need a place that you are semi-consistently. Otherwise, it's not fair for your team versus the rest of the league that gets to play half their games at home.
Right.
Even though they're not even at home, they're in another city, but they're close to home, and they can't be in Toronto right now. So might as well be somewhere where you can be in the same apartment, hotel room, condo, wherever you're going to stay for the few months of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to be home, but that's as close as you're going to get as Buffalo. So the Blue Jays will play their home games in Buffalo this year at Solon Field, where the Buffalo Bisons of the AAA play. Makes sense. They've got a ballpark. It's right next to Toronto. And the other, locations, as you mentioned, were rejected by the Canadian government. So they didn't really have many choices. And here they are on opening day, finally, figuring out where they're going to play their home games. So that was a little bit too close for comfort, that decision and the timing of it, I would think. But, hey, you found your place to play, and they will, get going against the Rays later on tonight. And I guess their first home game will be in about 5 days from now. So they do have a little bit of buffer before they have to move into that stadium. But, I mean, yeah, this is just one of those kind of loose ends, I think, for baseball was, how's this going to get figured out for Toronto? And now it has been. So I think that, it just answers another question, and Major League Baseball can continue to get that ball rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the options was they were just going to be, rotate home, like they'd be the home team in half of their games on the road.
Yeah,
all their
weird.
games that have been on the road, they've been the home team, and half their games on the road. It's just been wild. That. All right, when we come back, Eddie Lackey, former Baylor linebacker. We talked about him earlier in the week when we talked to Dave Aranda. He was Dave Aranda's big fish that got away, Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Phil Bennett got him out from under Dave Aranda. When we come back, we'll have Eddie Lackey, former Baylor linebacker, with us here on SicEm365 Radio.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
So it's time for us to have a talk because obviously your buddies aren't telling you and neither is your woman. You've been driving that truck around exposing your stuff. It's not only embarrassing, it's disgusting. I'm talking about full frontal truck nudity, and it's time for you to do something about it with a grill guard or a front-end replacement bumper from Pickup Outfitters. There are lots of good reasons to get a grill guard, like when Bambi decides to cross the road at the same time you're occupying it. But the best reason is that no one wants to see your junk up in your grill. Pickup Outfitters on Lake Erie Drive carries all the major brands of grill guards, including Ranch Hand, Cattleman, and even the Renegade brand made right here in Waco. Waco. And every grill guard we sell comes with our lifetime installation guarantee and no worry warranty program. Won't you help us end truck nudity? Pick up Outfitters, 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco. Check out our grill guards on our website at createacommotion.com/guards. createacommotion.com/guards.
Summertime means vacation time, and while this summer may be different, at Allen Samuels, you can always count on our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Brand spanking new 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs. Now 0% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $10,250 in total values. America's most loyal half-ton pickup owners are Ram owners. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s from Allen Samuels. Ask for details.
Texas board certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
This is SicEm365 Radio. This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. And earlier this week, you were talking to Dave Aranda, and right at the end of the interview, Smokey mentioned that, Phil Bennett kind of teased a little bit about when we had him on about the guy he got away from Dave Aranda back in the day when Dave Aranda was at Hawaii, and that player was Eddie Lackey. Eddie Lackey, former Baylor linebacker, joins us now. Eddie, always great to talk to you, man. How are things going? How have you navigated this pandemic so far?
Well, thanks for having me on today. It's definitely been challenging. It's had its challenges, but overall, I've just, had to adjust. It's definitely different for my work, at least, and running a business and stuff. It's, all the masks and different sanitary protocols and all that is just kind of the new norm. So it's still an adjustment right now.
Eddie, as Paul mentioned, we were talking to Dave earlier this week and kind of joked with him at the end, and he said that you were the big fish that got away. I know when we last talked to you, you spoke on it a little bit, but can you take us through, first just interacting with Dave Aranda when he was recruiting you and just sort of, your takeaways at the time and getting to know him a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honored that he would think that I got away, but I wish, I wish I could have gotten to play for him and could have gotten the best of both worlds. And that's no knock to my coaches because I loved Coach Bennett and Coach Gush. But it was awesome. I mean, I remember talking to him. It was probably at the end of my high school senior year, and they had already signed all their guys. It was after signing day, and he reached out and he was like, "Oh man, I wish we would have got on number 44 a little bit sooner." That was the number I was in high school. And, I just was like, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better, but who knows if that's actually true. And I ended up going to a small Division II school and in the middle of nowhere, Michigan. And I thought, well, I still want to pursue this dream. And I kind of held on to that a little bit, even though, because I didn't have many D1 coaches even tell me that much. And I get back from the Division II school and start pursuing the junior college route to try to get picked up by a D1. And one of my best friends in high school went and played for Coach Aranda. And we went to high school together too, but they picked him, and they didn't want to bring me along at the time. And so, at that point, once I got back, he just reached out to me because he knew that I was going back and going to junior college and everything. And he initially reached out and wanted me to come on board and do a preferred walk-on for that season, and just kind of skip the junior college route and put me on scholarship after the preferred walk-on. And it was a cool experience though, just talking to him and knowing, like, you know, he remembered me. I didn't have just some crazy season at that D2, but I guess I left enough of a mark to, you know, for him to be interested, knowing that I left this school and want to make it to that level. And, you know, he was super personable. He, you know, I swear, and I don't know if he still has the bro in his terminology right now, but he really fit the Hawaii kind of feel. Whenever I talked to him, every other word was, "Yeah, bro, we can't wait to have you, bro." And, you know, we're going to put you in the, you know, that rover spot, bro, and all that stuff. And it was just like, oh, I'm excited. I've never been to Hawaii. I want to go play for this guy. And so I ended up just, you know, I told him I still wanted to. I wasn't going to be able to afford, you know, fitting the bill for living in Hawaii and paying for school there and doing the preferred walk-on route. And he understood that. So he ended up just offering me a scholarship for the following year, which was like, I didn't even play it down, you know, at that junior college. And he had already offered me and took a chance on me without even seeing any film from the Northwood, the D2 school. And so it was cool that he took that chance on me and was the first Division I school to, you know, offer me that scholarship for a Division I. It was just like dream came true at that point when he offered me. So I was definitely loyal to him throughout that whole season, and played for, you know, I was looking forward to playing for him. But once good old Baylor popped into the picture, and I got my eyes on it and came out and you know, was able to watch a game and everything and get to know everybody. I was it hurt to make that call to him, but, you know, it seemed like the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah. So have you been to Hawaii at all, like, since? I mean, or did Phil Bennett ruin that for you too?
That's a sensitive subject. But my wife and I actually were supposed to go on our 5th year anniversary just last month for that, and, you know, with COVID, that kind of changed our plans. We had to we went to Lake Granbury instead.
Okay. Well,
same thing.
Close.
They say that Lake Granbury is the Hawaii of that area of Texas.
Yeah,
so
heard that.
right.
But Eddie, when you came here to Baylor, you were something that they needed a playmaker at that position. They hadn't really, they'd lost some guys, and Phil Bennett's defense had yet to really grab a strong hold. Did you feel the expectations of that when you came about, because there weren't that many people at that position when you stepped in?
I did. I know that when Coach Bennett was talking to me about it, you know, with Elliot Coffey being gone after that, and they were looking at bringing me in for middle linebacker initially. So I mean, I didn't know how that was gonna be. I'm thinking, well, you know, here I go from small little D2 in the middle of nowhere, Michigan, playing safety, you know, to playing a little bit of linebacker in junior college, to all of a sudden playing middle linebacker in Big 12 and having to fit the A gap and all that stuff. Not that I didn't believe in myself to make the plays that I knew I could make, but you know, it was something that was challenging in my mind, you know, to do that. So to be honest, I questioned whether or not I was going to be able to be that playmaker in the middle. I mean, I was fired up about the opportunity, but, you know, I think naturally I ended up where I really saw myself, which is more the outside, you know, on the edge and you know, out at times being up against those slot receivers and different things. I feel like I was able to make the plays that, you know, that fit with me a little bit better with you know, my attributes. And so I had that thought kind of going into it, though, for sure.
Eddie, we always heard, how difficult it is for a defense to be out on the field as much as you guys were. How difficult was that really? And from where you were coming from, I'm not sure, what kind of style of offense you were going up against in practice, but I would have to imagine it was nothing close to what you saw when you got to Baylor. So, how hard was that as a defender to be in the mindset of you always have to be ready. You might have to be out there for 100-plus plays on defense because your offense is scoring so quickly, and just the adjustment you had to go through from what you were used to.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't a testament in itself, when I first got there, I was, I think I cramped by, the third drive, every time we had a 7-on-7 even or something like that. I would always have the nutritionist right there ready with some salt tablets and everything, just because I had never been up against anything like that in my life. So I played football literally since kindergarten, tackle football, never missed a year up until that point, and never experienced something like that in my life. So that was a wake-up call, and everybody that's been there, I remember Bryce Hager just was like, yeah, welcome to going up against the number one offense in the country.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was an adjustment for sure.
What was it like to watch? Because I know this, even just from talking to Coach Bennett, he was learning how to coach against offenses like that you were going to have to face every week, kind of on the fly. It was as a time to, nobody really had a defense that was going to stop it. It was more, let's see if we can make one stop per quarter more than we were before, which is not like a normal defensive mentality. What was it like kind of working through that with the coaches as they were trying to figure out, how are you going to keep Texas Tech, below 49 points?
Exhausting. I mean, we, as you know, we got beat up quite a bit. I was there 2 years, 2012, 2013, and I'll never forget. Well, yeah, playing against Tech, but getting beat up by Geno Smith and Tavon Austin and those guys, and them putting 70 plus on us. That was something different for me. But in a situation like that, yeah, I mean, all you're wanting to do at that point is just get one stop, because you know that your offense is so good and can make the play that you need to make, or that they need to make. And all it takes is that defense maybe coming up just once with that stop. And in that game, that is exactly what it came down to. That was in 2012 against West Virginia. And I just, that was exhausting, the thought of that, and being on the field, it felt like 90% of the game. But I think that was the flip side of having such a high-powered, fast, quick-to-score offense, and then you're out on defense just trying to adjust to these offenses that are very fast in the Big 12. And so, yeah, making one stop was just a lot of times that was what you needed to do. So it was tough mentally, because you don't, as a defensive player, you don't want to give up any points. But gosh, it's a tough thing, in the Big 12 to not give up points, because they definitely do that.
I think we'll definitely end on a more positive note, but I do have to ask you this, because we've had a lot of players on, and a lot of players that were on that 2013 team, and I don't think I've ever asked this question, and it's not to bring up a bad memory, but it's just the curiosity. That UCF bowl game, what do you think went wrong? Was the lead up with all the rumors that were going on with Art and UT? Was it just everybody was kind of happy to be there and you guys were enjoying it? What do you think happened with UCF?
Yeah. I do think that there was a little bit of, a lack of focus. I think that here we were just quite honestly fighting to get to a national championship game, in that conversation finally, up until we lost to Oklahoma State. And, when you are told you're going to be playing, and I know it's a knock, but I don't mean it that way, but when you're told that you're going to be playing UCF, a group of five kind of school, I think that, guys just kind of didn't take it seriously. And, that's my outlook on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that had a little bit or a lot to do with just the preparation, taking it seriously, that week of practice. Those things kind of were impacted just through a lack of focus. And we didn't execute. I don't want to say it's because of that, but we just didn't execute. We didn't execute on our blitzes. We didn't execute on, making the big plays when they were there and things like that. We didn't have it that night, that's for sure. And UCF played a heck of a game, and they deserved to win that night with how we were playing and how we prepared.
Yeah, and I was just curious because there's so much talk about, like, what went wrong in that game or whatever, and so it's just cool to get a player's perspective. And, hey, look, it's not like UCF was a one and done. I mean, here they are years later, and they're still, hanging national title banners and stuff.
Legitimate or not.
Yeah.
But
that's right.
Eddie, your thoughts on Terrell Bernard, Baylor's returning middle linebacker, and the way he kind of, after Clay Johnston got hurt, just exploded on the scene, had a fantastic year, preseason all Big 12 first team. What do you see out of him?
I mean, what doesn't he have? I think that he's got the size, he's got the athleticism. He reads the play really well. He doesn't have a lot of wasted steps. I mean, there's a reason why he's up for these awards, these preseason awards, and there's a lot of talk about him. It's just, I mean, he's a playmaker. He's a ball player, and that's what you look for in any football player, no matter what position it is. He goes out and makes a play, and it seems, I haven't had too many conversations with him, but it seems like he's just very intelligent in just how he understands the game of football. It doesn't seem like it's just instincts. It seems like he understands the game and the X's and O's part. And, I think that goes a long way. Whenever I'm watching any kind of player and a linebacker in particular, I can see that just by, his movement and how limited his steps are, and being able to be as effective as he is. So I think so highly of him, and honestly, I think he'll be a first or second round draft pick one day.
Eddie Lackey, former Baylor linebacker, here with us on SicEm365 Radio. I wanted to get your thoughts on this because you had to go against offensive players every day in practice, but we had RG3 on and a couple of the other offensive guys. I think Corey weighed in on this a few weeks back. But if you were to put together a 4x100 team of former Baylor players, RG3 weighed in, and he kind of wanted to stick in his era. So he said, like, with all due respect to Corey and Antoine, like, he went with himself, and Paul helped me out here. It was himself, Tevin Reese, also
Lanier
Sampson,
and Lake
Seastrunk. So those were the four that RG3 came up with. I know there's plenty of other options, but if you had to put together a 4x100 team, you can stick with the guys you played with, or this is the guys you've witnessed at Baylor. Who would you go with off the top of your head?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's see. I would probably stick with, just based on my experience and who I've played with. I think that's what I would base it on, because that's what I've seen and that's what I've been chasing after if I've ever messed up on a play or something. So I clearly would understand how fast they really are. But I would throw in Tevin Reese. I would put, Lake Seastrunk, Dimitri Goodson, and the fourth one. That's a good question. I would probably put Corey Coleman in there.
Was Corey someone in practice that, if you, like you said, made a mistake where in your head you're like, oh, I'm not, I should just stop running. I need to save my energy for the next rep.
He was that guy. Yeah. him and Tevin Reese were both those guys. If they got by you, you might as well, not that you were allowed to, you still had to show that you're running full speed, but you knew you weren't catching them.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good team, though.
You couldn't implore to Kaz, like, hey, look, this is a marathon, not a sprint here, buddy.
Right.
Watch the back of the jersey. Yeah, watch the back of the jersey numbers get smaller and smaller as they go into the distance.
That's right. Many times that happened in practice. So.
Craig, anything else?
No, I think I've got everything I wanted to ask, but we'll definitely have to revisit again down the line, especially when we get some football stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Eddie, keep safe during this time. Always enjoy talking to you, and hopefully we'll get to see you at a game here soon enough.
Yeah,
an actual game out in public. with other human beings, which is not something that happens too much.
We'll not shake hands when we see you.
Yeah.
Do like a long distance high five.
Yeah, probably won't see facial expressions still.
Right.
We have the mask on and whatnot. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I always appreciate being, just chatting with you guys, and looking forward to the next time.
All right, thanks, Eddie. That's Eddie Lackey with us here on SicEm365 Radio. That's one of just the true good guys.
Mm-hmm.
He was a leader of that team. It's interesting you said that. Craig, that night right before the game, I came back from the media party or wherever we were, and you guys were already in the room, and I remember going into the room and realizing I need some stuff for the morning. So there was a little sundry store in there. And Eddie was in the lobby, and it wasn't too late for us, but I remember he had a bit of a look on his face of there's nobody else here but me right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of the thing. They didn't, those things happened. That was a weird thing. I think it's just as a group, they weren't ready to handle it. They were so excited about the moment that they didn't, that so many things just happened all at once.
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question. We can speculate on it or talk about it all we want to and pretend like we know for sure that they were distracted or it was Art's Texas rumors or it's whatever. But, part of the reason to interview these guys is to get their perspective on current stuff going on and the current program and the success and things like that, but also to get the real deal on, maybe certain things we were curious about. So I was always curious. I always figured they were distracted. They were happy to be there. They overestimated their opponent and so on and so forth. And as Eddie just said, it was pretty much all those things, to some extent amongst that football team. So it was no surprise when you hear those things or you expected that, and then, you saw the product that was on the field against UCF all those years ago. So, yeah, kind of figured what everybody figured, but you hear it, from somebody who was there and a part of it, and that was an interesting week, to say the least.
Next up, Grayson Grundhafer, SicEm365.com with us in his weekly segment. This is SicEm365 Radio.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of SicEm365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, and now we are joined by Grayson Grundhafer, SicEm365.com. And Grayson, just kind of a general question as we start off. Combining what's happened during COVID-19 between basketball and football, can you even wrap your head around how well it's gone given the circumstances? Like, it shouldn't be this way, right? Even if they were kind of hot.
Yeah, it shouldn't be this way at all. But yeah, I mean, they've handled it, I think, really, really well. I mean, the best way that they can. I mean, this is such a just unprecedented time. So for them to be handling it the way that they have, for them to be able to kind of progress forward from what seemed to be just a horrible situation, it is really, really great, and definitely encouraging that Baylor has leadership that has been able to handle this the way that they have so far.
Grayson, a monster week over the last few days for Baylor men's basketball. You and I talked a little bit about this on Trust the Podcast, which is available now, but a trio of 4- and 5-star players committed to the Bears. Just your thoughts on, I know we probably spoke a little bit about it in your last segment, but your thoughts on Scott Drew, the success, and where this program's headed right now.
It's just massive. And I mean, the additions that they made are kind of filling the exact needs that I think this team has going forward. They really need to address the wings, really need to address those forward positions, and they've been able to do that. Kendall Brown and Jeremy Sohan will do a great job as, those 6'7", 6'8" wing types who might even allow Scott Drew to bring back that 1-3-1 zone if they are able to really learn that defense well. And who knows, maybe he wants to use it with those guys. And then Langston Love is going to do a great job as more of a longer guard than what they currently have. I think he gives them a nice option as a combo guard. So they provide just solid versatility. And I mean, when you land guys at this quality, you're really putting your program in a great position moving forward. So I know Scott Drew's got to be ecstatic right now, and that basketball program is as hot as any right now.
It really does soften the blow, and we don't know what's going to happen with Jared Butler and Maceo Teague just yet for this season. But at least we know, after this season, you can pretty much chalk them up as gone anyway. And having those kind of guys coming in really does make that easier to deal with, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, since they're 2021, like you said, you still have this season in between, and I know there's huge expectations for this year as well, but you're exactly right. I mean, there's clearly some excitement moving forward, and that 2021 group is just going to build off of what this group has already kind of formed. But I mean, who knows? What if Jared Butler comes back and then decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to come back for my senior year too. I mean, this has been posted on the board numerous times, but he could end up being the best Baylor basketball player of all time if he stays all 4 years. And I even think he'll be in the conversation if he stays one more year.
Grayson Grunhaver, SicEm365.com, here with us on SicEm365 Radio. Grayson, where are we right now as far as football goes? Obviously, you know, they have brought players back onto campus, continuing to get that done. But in terms of the staff and their focus in recruiting right now, is there any sort of particular direction, or are they just kind of all eyes and ears open at the moment in terms of potential prospects?
Yeah, they're kind of in an interesting situation. So they're still somewhat looking at grad transfers, but it's got to be just the most perfect fit for them to end up taking one. Zach Sammartino, a kid out of Dartmouth, he's a grad transfer looking for his 6th year of eligibility, and he could be an option. He's got a few other schools that are recruiting him, but he's one that they're looking at. 6'4", 300 pounds, would provide nice help on the offensive line if Baylor chooses to go that direction. And now, as far as the 2021 class goes, I mean, they're really evaluating everything right now. They haven't put out many offers for 2021 recently. I think they like the offers that they have out, but a lot of kids are just, you know, kind of taking their time. I think we hit the huge wave of commitments early, and now I think you're kind of seeing a little bit of a delay right now, a little bit of a lull period where guys are still trying to figure out exactly how they want to handle this. Do they wait to try to take visits? And with Baylor only having, you know, around 3 to 5 spots left, they can kind of take their time and make sure that they take the guys that they really, really want, while also saving some room for guys that have monster senior seasons if, you know, they want to recruit a late bloomer.
Yeah, I know that you did some work last week, you know, at camp and doing lots of interviews and things like that. But without the coaches going to some of these things and all that, how much does that change this game a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it changes it some. I will say that, you know, most times these coaches don't really go to these camps. And the big reason why is because, you know, the camp that we're going at, they provide video for the colleges. And you can bet every college is probably, you know, getting that video this year because it's an absolute necessity, it feels like. So they'll be able to watch it. They'll be able to look at it, be able to evaluate some of the things that I got to see on Sunday. Obviously, film does not replace in-person evaluations, but I will say that it was a really talented group, and I think all the programs in the country are very excited that they will actually get to see some of these guys in action and get to see how they move and their testing results and things like that, which could ultimately lead to some offers. So it could end up being a pretty big deal, and it was definitely fun to finally get to see some football, honestly.
Yeah, and one of the kind of preseason activities that it's a sort of a small thing, and maybe we take it for granted, but I noticed that you, on the premium section of SicEm365, posted some weight updates from the roster now that everybody's getting back to campus, getting weighed and measured and everything, and you got a list of like 20 guys and the changes, or at least the sizes that they have right now. Was there anybody that jumped off the page to you as far as a gain, or just maybe somebody who's a newcomer who already has some impressive size?
Oh, guys, there were some big gains made. Let me tell you, and there's a couple that definitely stand out above the rest from just where they were when they got to Baylor to where they're at now. So Garmin Randolph, the big defensive end, he's gone up 29 pounds since last year. He's all the way up to 265 pounds at 6'7". That is a kid that I was really excited about in that class. Feel like he has a very high ceiling. And just really need to put on the weight, which has been such a huge problem for Baylor defensive linemen, it seems like. You know, you can go all the way back to R.J. Smith and B.J. Thompson. It was like they just could never put on the weight while they were at Baylor. But Garmin has done that, so he was a big one. Tyrone Brown at linebacker, he's gone up 23 pounds, so he's up to 228 pounds playing that linebacker position. So he's put on some good weight. I think there are a few others. Logan Compton, he's on the roster now. He's up 27 pounds from the last time we saw his weight. And then I guess one more. How about Yusuf Terry, an outside receiver, a guy who's got high expectations for this year. He's up 13 pounds to 196 pounds, so very encouraging there.
Grayson, we just had Eddie Lackey on right before you. Do you have a favorite Eddie Lackey memory?
Oh, I definitely do, and it's probably a lot of people's favorite memories. But I was a sophomore in college, and there was this game where it was called, the blackout game, and it was in 2013, and Baylor was taking on Oklahoma, and Eddie Lackey had a big interception. I believe that led to Baylor scoring points right before the half, but I just remember that interception that he had in that game. It just felt like such a huge, it pretty much ended the game, it felt like, and it was only halftime, but that was just the kind of game it was. Baylor ended up blowing them out 41-12, I believe, but that play always will stand out in my mind as an Eddie Lackey, just big-time play that he made, but he was a fantastic player. I think he's pretty underrated, honestly, as far as Baylor linebackers go.
Yeah, no doubt. He was a lot of fun to watch, and that blackout game, that's right there at the top for a lot of people. Well, hey, man, appreciate the insight. We got more on recruiting and things like that you can check out on Trust the Podcast, up now on iTunes and SicEm365.com. And Grayson here with us as well each Friday at around 3:45. Have a good weekend, man, and we will talk to you here in a few days.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Appreciate it. Grayson Grunhafer, SicEm365.com, a part of our fantastic team. It also includes Colt Barber, Ashley Hodge, Brian Etheridge, of course, and Jason King and Smokey, who, again, will be back on Monday. He's out because my cousin is getting married tomorrow. And
is this Disney princess cousin or a different cousin?
She will get married, I'm sure, at some point. But no, this is the second oldest in the family of the three girls, and the third oldest. Excuse me, the youngest of the three girls. I was getting confused there for a second, but no, it's going to be a cool deal. So very excited for my cousin Elizabeth and her future husband and all the rest of the family. And they may be listening right now, so shout out to them if they are. But we got a couple more hours to go into. Thanks to Grayson Grunhafer. Thanks to Eddie Lackey as well, former Baylor linebacker. His 4x100 team, again, I put that out there on Twitter. It was Tevin Reese, Lake Seastrunk, Dimitri Goodson, and Corey Coleman. So we got his feedback on that as well. But we got 4 o'clock hour coming your way. Baseball and a lot more to get to. This is SicEm365 Radio.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is SicEm365 Radio.
Murphy trying to follow up, blasting away right field. That one is gone. Back to back off Backy. And it's 5-3.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozers Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's Paul Catalina and Craig Smoke.
Yeah, you heard a David Murphy highlight in there. Thought we were lined up at 4 o'clock today with David, and then he had to shoot some TV stuff.
Yeah.
So
season's back.
Yeah, it is. That's kind of a bummer, but we'll get him next week.
But the season being back or David Murphy?
David Murphy not being here. It's not a bummer the season being back. Thank God.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of excitement for it. Made mention of it earlier. The 4 million viewers or whatever it was for last night's Yankees game. So got off to a good start. I mean, we'll see if that continues. I don't know how many people are going to be, still clamoring for Brewers Indians in about 3 weeks or, whatever the schedule looks like. But we will see, whether or not baseball did itself further damage with all of their back and forth that went on during the spring when, they were portrayed a little bit by some in the media as kind of spoiled brats. At the same time, they were portrayed as those just looking out for their best interest in their own health and everything. And, ultimately side with the players more than the owners on that. But regardless, they finally got to this point, and we've been talking about, all the different things that have to be put into place and all the restrictions and just everything. Bottom line is that through all that talk and the weeks of it that we did, they're finally playing baseball. So that's all that really matters. And it was good to see that get underway last night. And in case you missed out on it, Yankees beat the Nationals 4-1, and the Dodgers beat the Giants 8-1. So did not get, some real close walk-off type game last night. But we did get baseball, and then tonight we'll get everybody else in action. The Rangers going to be playing tonight at 7:05 against the Colorado Rockies. And I guess the first home game, right, at the new stadium. So you can check that out for the very first time if you haven't seen any of the preseason looks or anything like that. But, Rangers and Rockies later on tonight. And then even later, about an hour after that, it'll be at 8:10, the Astros at home against the Mariners. So Rangers and Astros, game number 1 later on this evening.
It's or is it Rockies tonight? No, the Astros. Well, both have the.
They're both playing.
They're both playing. So, okay, yeah. So, a friend of ours. Do you remember Nikki? That was an intern. I don't know if you ever met Nikki, a little short Nikki. I think she was before your time, but she used to.
No.
Anyway, she's a huge Rangers fan. She asked me what was the over/under on Astros players getting plunked today, and I said 2 probably, just because there might be some. Still bad blood from teams on that, but I think that because of the pandemic, that's pretty much probably gone, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll still see it on occasion. I would think that when they match up, let's say, and I don't know what the schedule looks like all the way through. I have not done all that due diligence yet. Just happy that it's here. But, yeah, I would imagine if there's a scenario where they're playing the Astros or the Yankees down the line that you could see somebody get plunked or, maybe just some random occasion as well. I don't know who all would maybe have a vendetta against them outside of just having the normal vendetta of like, hey, you hurt the game. So anybody's really a candidate for throwing a pitch like that. But I'm sure we'll see it. I don't think it's anywhere near where it was, though. Had the season started on time, we'd all kind of worked ourselves up to, the level of, all right, it's baseball time. Astros are going to get theirs early on in the season. And then when that got pushed back, it's like, I guess they'll get it later. Now it's like we're here, and it's like, does anybody really care at this point? Because I don't. I really don't even care if they, get any revenge on them.
I honestly did not care about the cheating scandal as much. Like, I knew it was bad, but I knew that they would be dealt with. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. The only thing that made me mad, and the only thing that ever makes me mad in these things, and this just goes back to being a media person, and anytime a scandal breaks, they treat the media like it's the media's fault that it happened or that we're some kind of bully, and they treat us dumb.
Yeah.
Like that's the Astros managed to hit like all three of those things, like all in that first day of press conferences when they started copping to it at spring training, and I was like, well, now you just made it all worse. Like, I didn't care. Now I kind of care.
I mean, I cared if there was something to it, and there clearly was. And, I'm not an Astros fan. I don't sit here and, like, hold a grudge against them or wish ill will. It's not a rivalry to me, Rangers and Astros. I mean, it is, but it really isn't. I don't look at the Astros that way as a Rangers fan. Mm-hmm. And I know lots of Astros fans that don't look at the Rangers that way. And there's plenty of people that look at them as main rivals or whatever. So it's not the Ranger fan of me. It's just the baseball fan of me that was like, yo, yeah, if that's going on, that's messed up. Just like if the Yankees are doing it, which they appear to have been doing it to some extent. The Red Sox were doing it. And, when those teams are also the teams that are hoisting the trophy or are in contention for it, and you think that they're cheating when they've already got a lot of advantages over other teams, and it kind of pisses you off a little bit of like, what? Wait a second here. So from my standpoint, that's really what it was. It wasn't so much like, oh, it's the Astros. Let's crush them. It was just like, yeah, that's a bad look. And had the Yankees been busted in the same type of manner with, all of the stuff that was coming out about banging on trash cans and relay through the TV screens and like all the intricacies and all the efforts that they went to, that's what made it so interesting was like, these dudes were just blatantly doing this, and it was so obvious when you look back on it. But no, I don't really I definitely don't hold a grudge against the Astros, and I don't really, go into tonight going, gosh, I hope they lose every game. I don't care.
No.
I don't care.
I wonder if the Rangers and Astros rivalry would kick up if they were ever actually good at the same time. Because since they've been into the division together, they haven't been good at the same time. As a matter of fact, when the Rangers were going to World Series in the postseason, a big reason was they were just dominating the Astros. I think the World Series year they were like 15-3 against them.
Yeah, they were beating them pretty good up until a couple years ago.
It was like the difference in their wins against the Astros were the difference in them winning the division.
Yeah, because they had a overwhelmingly winning record, whereas they typically, or at least it feels like they have a 500 or worse record against everybody else in that division. Like they always do against the A's. They always do. They usually do pretty well against the Mariners, I guess, for the most part. But, the A's are always a really big bugaboo for them. And then the Astros became one. So, it's a rivalry just based on geography more than anything.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is. And it's like the Marlins and Rays. Are they really big rivals? I mean, there's more history between the Astros and Rangers, but, they were not in the same league for so long. So I never looked at the Astros as some sort of rival. They never played up until several years ago. And so it's changed a little bit, but this is not Yankees, Red Sox. This is not anything close to Redskins, Cowboys, or Washington football team versus Dallas Cowboys. It just doesn't have that sizzle to me.
Rivalries get better if both the teams are good at the same time, and that's how they grow. For example, you could have never called Baylor a rival for Texas, and Texas probably still wouldn't for the longest time. They still don't, but now they're worried about them because they've been good at the same time. They've had to battle it out for some titles. As for the longest time, there's generations of people who don't even, consider that, Baylor wasn't even a blip on the radar. It was just another game they had to play. And now, Art Browse came in, and then subsequently Baylor's been a threat for the most part to Texas. And as a matter of fact, more often than not, Texas has been more of a threat to Baylor good in the last few years than the other way around, over the last decade.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some level of respect there. And even though I think most Texas fans would say they don't respect Baylor, I think they had no choice, those who are just being realistic with themselves and not being like stupid college football fan who hates everything. But, for those that are just being honest with themselves, I mean, yeah, you were impressed last year by Matt Rule and the job that he did. And you were impressed even if you didn't like the guy by what Art Browse did with those teams. And so I think you got to have, some respect there. Because, I mean, what fun is it to be the bully? The thing about winning games and how that matters to rivalries. Like, yeah, if the Astros are just beating up on the Rangers all the time, it's not much of a rivalry, and there's not much for Rangers fans to get too excited about. So that's what it was for Texas and Baylor for the longest time. And then the bully starts to become the bully a little bit, and now you got two guys swinging, and it becomes fiery, and that's what we've kind of seen Texas and Baylor turn into now, where it's more of a crapshoot on who's going to win each year. But, Astros definitely have had the upper hand here as of late. I don't know what the chances are for either one of these teams is to go win the World Series. I mean, the same as everybody else, I guess, with this weird season that we're in. But, Rangers look like they should be pretty good on paper, and the Astros should be pretty good on paper. So, we'll see what each team ends up doing. But it'd be great if they were both good because it would add some fire to what is, just a paper rivalry right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then again, if they're both good, and I think the Rangers have a good shot to be fun. Look, there's 16
Apparently,
teams.
that's what I'm told.
There's going to be 16 teams in the playoffs, and it's going to be seeded 1-8, 3-game series. I mean, I like that format if they're going to do it this way. So it's 1-8, 3-game series, all at the better teams, home field, 3 straight games in a row. So I would think the Rangers have a great shot at being one of the top 8 teams in the American League.
I mean, like I said, as good of a chance as anybody else in this format. I mean, everybody's 0-0, and a couple teams are 1-0, and a couple teams are 0-1. But yeah, I mean, they've got a shot to maybe go on a run. I mean, I think you could throw anybody out there just about right now and say they have a chance, just because maybe roster wise they're not as good, but all it takes is somebody hitting the right streak early on.
I can tell you the teams I would take out right now just based on their roster in the American League would just be the Orioles, Tigers, the Orioles and Tigers. I think everyone else has enough oomph to maybe get into the top 8 in a 60-game season. I don't think, there's a lot of teams I don't think are going to make noise. Like I don't think the Angels or Mariners or Red Sox or, Royals are really going to make noise. But, I do think that, or maybe even the Blue Jays, I don't know. I mean, they've got a rough go of it. That might be stressful. So in the American League, yeah, I mean, they could find their way easily into the one of the top 8 teams.
Sure.
Because they've got a better rotation than all the teams I just mentioned when you kick them out.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, again, on paper, I've heard so much about this pitching staff now at this point. I want to actually see them go out there because I've heard so many good things now about how much is expected of this pitching staff that it makes me hesitant to really go all in and believe it, because it's been, kind of a while since they've had a pitching staff that they were as confident about. I think, they're a team that could definitely make the playoffs. I don't think they're a real World Series threat. Astros, meanwhile, I think are definitely a threat to be in the mix for both. But, again, just with this schedule the way that it is and how abruptly we kind of got this underway, even though it wasn't real abrupt. I mean, it took a long time to finally get this thing underway. But now that it is, I mean, you're probably right in going ahead and eliminating a couple of teams just because no matter how short the schedule is, you're just not good. Like the Orioles. They're just a terrible baseball franchise right now. But, yeah, I mean, Rangers and Astros could definitely be a part of the mix and maybe make some things interesting. We will see.
Yeah, what I like to do to determine whether a team is going to be good or not is I like to go through a roster of their starting lineup and, taking the pitchers. Like, there's a couple pitchers, obviously, because it's different. Some guys can be better in certain situations. Their team will be good. They're fine. They're just kind of in the mix. But there's not a player on the Orioles that I would say, you know what? I got to have this, if they called up my team right now and said, do you want it? I might be like, try to make that deal happen.
Yeah.
And so that's always my thing is where, for the Rangers, there's lots of guys. I would be like, yeah, let's do this, But
does Chris Davis still play for the Orioles?
That's yeah, and he's a very nice guy. But
I have a wooden bat of his in my living room right now.
Really?
Very random, I know. No, yeah, he's an East Texas guy, so knew Chris from his Rangers days, being originally from Longview, and he had done a couple interviews with Smokey or whatever, and I think one year that he went out to Rangers training camp when Chris ended up with them, and doing BP or whatever, bat breaks, that happens all the time, and I don't know, somehow or another he ended up giving the broken bat to Smokey, who in turn gave it to me, and maybe I'm his curse. Maybe I'm Chris Davis's curse because he has struck out a lot with me holding on to the possession of that bat. But that's I've had that for years. But yeah, it's just sitting with a couple of other bats in my living room right now. It's a random Chris Davis broken bat.
Smokey and I had a good interview with him when we went to spring training when he was still with the Rangers, and he just came right over. I mean, it was like one of the things like. He just waved at John Blake and said, "Come on, let's do it." But
yeah, I interviewed him a few times during that stretch when I was in Tyler doing radio, and he was always really cool. He's a good dude. I feel sorry for all the trials and tribulations he's gone through as far as his playing career goes, because I know
he's made a bunch of money though. So
no, and I was gonna say that. I mean, on the other hand, I don't feel too bad for him because he has made a lot of money. But I mean, day after day. 3 strikeout, 4 strikeout games, and just the people harping on that's got to be really straining on you mentally. But that is why you get paid millions of dollars. So he's played well enough to make that kind of money, but still at the same time, just brutal going through the stretches that guy goes through.
Yeah, by the way, I think when just looking through, I was kind of looking through some rosters, and this is something I think bears watching this year. The Blue Jays roster to me is the most interesting in all of baseball because their 3 up-and-coming stars are Vlad Guerrero Jr., Kevin Biggio, and Bo Bichette. So they've got like the second generation team, like all that. And Vlad Guerrero Jr. can, he's moved over to first base now.
Pretty good.
Yeah, he can ball. He can straight up play. So very interested in that roster and seeing how they do in Buffalo. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to, you're talking about getting 8 teams in. By the way, there's one game going right now. The Mets and Braves. And here's an interesting little thing. The Mets are doing the cardboard cutout thing, Craig. How do you feel about the cardboard cutout thing? Do you think it's hokey?
No, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Like like there's little things like that people get like big opinions on, and I'm just like, I don't have the care to really spend that much time thinking about my feelings on cardboard cutouts. But just on the surface, I mean, it's fine. Just don't make the same mistake that the Korean Baseball League did where they had the cardboard cutout of who was it that got him? Oh, yeah, it was Hitler. They had a cardboard cutout of Hitler at one of the North Korean baseball games, and so somebody got in trouble for that. But, there's a lot of fun ways to do it. I don't know what this virtual crowd thing is going to really be like in the long haul. That's really kind of strange to me. But I guess we'll see that on Saturday is when that's supposed to really be rolled out on the Fox broadcast. But yeah, I mean, like the cardboard cutouts are fine. You definitely, I mean, when I watch wrestling on Wednesday nights, AEW, I miss the crowds. I absolutely miss the crowds. It's evident they've done a good job of putting people in the stands, like from the backstage that have been tested, and so they can have them out there yelling and screaming and wearing their mask and doing all that. And it just makes such a world of difference to the product. I mean, even just a few people, 10 people is better than no people. So, anything to make you feel like it's somewhat normal, I guess, is good. And I guess those cardboard cutouts kind of do that.
Well, the reason I bring this up is the Braves and Mets scoreless in the middle of the 5th right now. So the Mets are one of the teams that have done it. Well, Chipper Jones has a cardboard cutout at it's now Citi Field. Which is a really cool park, by the way. And also, his son Shea has one. He named his son Shea because he had such good games at Shea Stadium, and Mets fans hate Chipper Jones. So there is some thought that Chipper Jones and his son purchased these cutouts to troll Mets fans himself.
I doubt that. I highly doubt that.
It's because his son, there's a picture of his son there, too.
Right.
So they think that maybe, like, he did it because Chipper maybe has that kind of sense of humor, but
maybe if he did it, I mean, that's really funny that he did that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I highly doubt he went to the efforts of, you know what I'm gonna do? Like, I just don't see Chipper Jones planning out this great troll job of Mets fans. But maybe he did. And we're seeing a lot of second generation stars. You mentioned the Blue Jays and who they have, but Chipper Jones's kid, and yeah, it's pretty cool to see all these young up and comers that are, you know, second generation, or I would imagine in some cases third generation guys as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there will be some teams or some organizations or even some players that perhaps go the route of being able to have some fun and troll some people with some of those cutouts or other things.
And look, I'm looking at a picture of it right now. He's got great seats.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I think everybody does.
He's got fantastic seats. He's he's right behind the dugout. Like, he's right there behind the dugout.
Man.
So there you go. And it's probably, you know, because the Braves were playing today or whatever. So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So, all right, when we come back, we'll take some more. We got a couple texts on the Bush's Chicken text line. Craig, I've got some Jamal Adams news for you.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, I knew you enjoyed Jamal Adams news.
Oh, nothing I love more than NFL contract talks and trade demands. I love the business side of the National Football League.
He's going full into this. Like, he's trying every every method he can. Like, if you want to pick one, like the TO method, the Earl Thomas, like all these methods, he's trying to pick them all out of the air and use them at once. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Summertime means vacation time, and when you hit the road, do it in the vehicle of summer, Jeep. At Allen Samuels, it's our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Get employee pricing on brand new 2020 Jeep Gladiator Sport Editions, plus an additional $1,500 in retail bonus cash. And ask about 0% and no payments for 90 days on other Jeep models. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways, because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke. You're on your Friday. About an hour and a half left in the show. And wide open right now. Give us a text, 254-339-1122. And, Craig, you had something you wanted to pass along?
Yeah. From Fox 4 out in Dallas, I have not been following up on all the latest news constantly. I've explained that. I'm numb to all the different reports of everything, even the positive news. I just kind of have blanked it all out over the last few days and, take in what I need to know, but don't dwell too much in trying to break it down or solve it or anything like that. But I really wish I could have explained this one a little bit better, how we got to this point. But thanks to Jane Slater, I took note of this. Dallas County, in breaking news here in the last 15 minutes, has announced the closure of all strip clubs and sexually oriented businesses, cigar bars, etc., to slow down the spread of COVID-19. So why in the hell were those still open to begin with?
I don't know.
How are bars closed? How are, every athletic event's off the table pretty much? You can't go to amusement parks. You can't do hardly anything. But bars and bars, okay, we've had this talk, and I'll refrain from getting back into that. But how in the world were strip clubs open with social distancing and COVID and everything else that we're talking about?
Craig, and I've never been to one, so I couldn't tell you. But from what I've seen on television.
Right. Yes, I've heard stories, Paul.
I've heard stories.
Yes.
I'm going to stick to that as long as I can. But that's not a place there's no social distancing. You pay, you go in and pay not to be socially distanced.
Yeah,
that's
much.
the whole thing, is the anti-social distancing thing. I actually saw a story online the other day, is that in certain parts of the country, they're doing drive-through strip clubs.
Dude,
outside.
Okay, I'm gonna end up insulting half our audience or something. But
but how
are you
pathetic
that
do you have
desperate?
to be?
No,
Yes.
that's what I mean. It's are you that especially I'm not going to, but if I wanted to right now, I could pull up anything that I wanted to practically via the magic of the internet, right? Any whatever. And I don't know. I don't know what drives you to then go to the drive-through strip club route if you're just that desperate to look. Maybe it has to be in person. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but yeah, that's a different level of sad for sure.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. And look, here's the funny part about it. The first thing I read, my two thoughts were, well, that's sad for whoever goes to it. But if you're a business owner, you got to adapt to the times.
We're
keep
seeing people do creative things restaurant-wise with how they're getting their food out there into the world. So I guess you got to do what you got to do if you're a strip club as well. But unfortunate for those of you that were keeping these places in business during the COVID era, because they are now going to be shutting down. So apparently they were not following the rules. Imagine that. And that was why they had to make this executive order today to close down all the strip clubs and cigar bars and things like that. So he had a big weekend planned in Dallas. Might have to change your plans now.
That's it.
But I just cannot believe that type of a business was open when so many others are not deemed essential. That's weird to me.
Yeah, I can't.
There's no explanation for that one. There's really not. There's nothing essential.
You know what? You know what part of that probably argument is? It's look, if we're not going to be able to get the kids back in school until at least after Labor Day, how are you still open?
Yeah, yeah. It's hey, I'm all for people having their businesses open and being able to keep their businesses open. I know there's a lot of small businesses that have shuttered forever because of what we've gone through, and perhaps unnecessarily. But I just don't know, when you're making all these rules, how establishments like that in the social distancing era are still allowed to stay open until now. But all this time, that's weird.
There has to be some kind of powerful lobby.
No, yeah, I'm sure there's, maybe somebody on the city council is like a regular there, for all I know. But yeah, I'm sure it has to be something like that, because there's really no other reason for it, and it's not a big deal. I found that funny that was going on this entire time, as precautionary as everyone is being. Yeah, Well,
that's ridiculous. All right, so Jamal Adams news, Craig. I know that you love Jamal Adams news.
No.
You have a T-shirt that says, please give me Jamal Adams news.
No.
That you wear quite often. No, but he is trying everything in the book to force his way out of the Jets, which I still don't think is really going to happen. Because, I mean, there certainly would be a market for him, but not the market that the Jets want for him.
Right.
So he is saying now, in an interview with the New York Daily News, I don't feel like Adam Gase is the right leader for this organization to reach the promised land. As a leader, what really bothers me is he doesn't have a relationship with everybody in the building. He also attacked owner Woody Johnson, who's under fire for some alleged racist and sexist comments that he made while ambassador to the United Kingdom. So, again...
Way to represent America, buddy. Go over to the UK and then just say a bunch of racist, sexist stuff, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. But, yeah, so all that's going on, and he's requested a trade, obviously. He wants a new contract, and that's all this is about. General Manager Joe Douglas has said he's willing to listen to offers, and he has no leverage, Jamal Adams, in this, other than just trying to annoy his way out of the building.
Well, he does. He's using some of it by bringing up the racial stuff.
Yeah.
Because you could probably mention that at any other point in time, and you get a reaction to it, and people would definitely look into it. But you say that right now, and it's amplified times 10 versus what it would normally be reaction-wise. I think it's very possible that, I don't know the history of Woody Johnson and his comments and all of that. I'm not up on game when it comes to that story. So perhaps he did say everything that was alleged to have been said, but perhaps Jamal Adams is also using that as leverage. I think he is definitely using that as leverage. And, he's just trying to find any way that he can to get out. But I am so sick and tired of hearing of these spoiled-ass NFL safeties in particular who every offseason are crying about a new contract or crying about the team that they're on or crying about this or crying about that because they want to go join the super team. Where's he going to end up? He's going to end up on the Ravens or, the same – he's going to end up on the 49ers. The same teams that pick up all these guys, and it'll be a contender. I mean, let's face it. That's what he really wants. He wants to be on a good team that's competing for Super Bowls. Now, I fully believe he doesn't like Adam Gase. I don't like Adam Gase, and I don't know the man. I'm just going off of what I've seen. I don't feel like I would be friends with the guy. But, because a coach isn't handling things the way that he's supposed to is all of a sudden a reason for you to demand a trade. I don't see a bunch of other guys on that team lining up complaining about Adam Gase and the way he's handling everything. It's kind of weird, Jamal, that it's always you that is the one talking, at least as far as I see. So to me, if there was some huge problem with Adam Gase, then I feel like there'd be more than one person who this entire time has been demanding to get out of there and trying everything he can to get out of there. I feel like there would be more people coming to his defense. And if there has been, then I've just missed it. But it seems to me he just wants out. And now, I've run out of every other bullet in my chamber. And so what do I have left? I have these allegations against ownership that can come into play. I don't like Coach Gase even more now. And so here's things that make me unhappy. And like the complaints, I don't feel like he's the right leader for this organization. It's not lost on me that the guy that Jamal Adams reached out to is a notorious, terrible reporter, Manish Mehta of the New York Daily News, who was awful during the Matt Rule reporting, and that's how I got to know him and kind of the tricks that he uses to bolster his audience and to write clickbait and things like that. So he's the guy that, of course, Jamal goes and talks to because he's the guy that's like the thorn in the Jets organization side. He said that Gase doesn't have a relationship with everybody in the building. He doesn't address the team. If there's a problem in the locker room, he lets another coach address. Hey, Jamal, go talk to Adam Gase. How about that? I'd have a lot more respect for you if you went to his office and said the same things to him that you're saying to this newspaper reporter who's notorious in New York for always ruffling feathers intentionally. So, it just seems like crying to me. I guess that's what I'm getting to. It just seems like another NFL player crying over a contract and just trying to find his way out of it. And Jamal Adams has had a hard go of that. He's never been able to get out of New York as long as he's been trying now. And I'm sure it's frustrating, but I don't feel that sorry for him, honestly.
Yeah, what does it say for the next place he goes? What do you have to – so say he goes And I'm not saying I think this is going to happen because I don't. But his first choice is obviously the Cowboys because he's from Dallas and that's where he wants to play. And, so let's say his first choice is really the Cowboys. And he gets traded to the Cowboys. And the Cowboys give him a big fat contract. Well, what happens when and the Cowboys don't really have problems with people who are discontented. For the most part, it doesn't happen publicly because Jerry Jones takes care of them. But, what happens if Mike McCarthy says something he doesn't like? Is he going to do that there? Like, just in a professional sense, it makes it really nerve-wracking and maybe harder for you to get traded because some coaches are going to be like, look, I don't need this headache. Like, is he doing this just to get out? And then what happens when he's slightly unhappy here?
Well, I think most teams are just going to look at the organization and say that it's the team he's playing for, and that if he comes to Baltimore or to San Francisco or to Dallas or to any other team, it's always the same teams that are candidates for these guys, that he'll be happier. And, hey, you'll win more games, that's for certain, so I'm sure you will be happier, and you'll clearly have a better relationship with management. I have nothing personal against Jamal Adams. I'm just tired of seeing Jamal Adams complaining in the media. And if that's the route that he has to go to get what he wants, I can understand it to a certain extent. But at some point, I'm just going to tune you out. And so I've kind of tuned Jamal Adams out at this point. I keep track of it because it's a story. Obviously, it's a story. But, this is just one of many stories that, to me, is just a guy complaining because he doesn't have what he wants right now. And there's only so far I'm going to go and feeling for you, especially in today's climate where here's this very unhappy millionaire who's going to make even further millions playing a game. And I understand all the risks and things like that. I'm not trying to diminish, being a professional football player and the difficulties that entails. But, man, it sure beats 99% of the other jobs out there.
How many other jobs in life can you complain your way into a race?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's dude, you've got it made. And, okay, you're unhappy with where you are or who your coach is. But, my gosh, you get a wake-up call in the real world because you're going to have a boss. And guess what? You can't go through the media to get rid of that boss. You can't go and cry in public to get that raise. I mean, that's a luxury that he has to be able to have that platform, and he's earned that platform. But, it just after a while, it just comes across as crying, man. And go out there and I'm not saying shut up and play football or shut up and dribble along those lines. I'm just saying, all right, we get it, dude. So, make something happen, but just quit crying in the media about it. But here he is, and he's he's a great player. He's a great player. I hope he gets traded just so we stop talking about the stupid Jamal Adams and Jets story because it's been going on for over a year now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Dak and the Cowboys contract, except for there's actually more interesting things to that story than this story, actually, because it's been the same story the entire time.
Yeah. No, this one is just...
But, hey, I just, put out the fire of Cowboys fans out there who maybe are taking today, and another Jamal Adams thing is, oh, man, maybe there's a chance. For those people out there, I'm not trying to, crush your dreams or anything. That'd be great. I'd love to cover Jamal Adams on a closer basis. Like I said, nothing personal against the guys. Just quit crying already.
Yeah.
That's just where I am.
It's just one of those things that, to me, it just doesn't – it's never played well, and it continues not to play well.
Right.
And Carl Campbell, our good friend – on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. He's trying to take a page out of the AB playbook, but he isn't crazy enough to get traded for nothing.
Yeah. No, that's I don't know who the first guy to do that was, but you're right. Antonio Brown did the same thing, but to an even more extreme. And there's been other guys that have rumbled, on Twitter a little bit, but I don't know when that really started.
I think T.O.'s the one who really...
But he didn't have Twitter back then.
No, but he did the thing of, doing sit-ups in his driveway, and
he did do that.
So that was kind of T.O.'s deal.
Yeah, maybe it was him. I don't know. I think it's great that players feel that they have those voices, that their voices matter. If he didn't feel like his voice mattered, then he wouldn't be talking at all. And I'm all for it to a certain extent, like I said. But it's just okay, you could have printed out that story from today, change the date, and it would have been the exact same as that date from 2 years ago, almost word for word. You know what I mean? That's how this has been dragging out. So Adam Gase just does not seem long for this world. I'll tell you what, I'm glad that Matt Rule did eventually take that NFL job because we don't have to worry about that anymore. Because there's no doubt that this offseason there would be a lot of Jets rumors, or there will be a lot of Jets rumors, and you can best believe that if Matt Rule is still at Baylor, he'd be all caught up in those rumors. So we had to go through that a couple of times, and now we don't have to go through that anymore. And it's kind of nice to know that that's not going to be a storyline for this season, whatever this season looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We'll continue this discussion when we come back. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, the people that you can count on. They've got great deals. They've got great customer service as well. And, all this month, which we're not long for much more this month at this point in time. We've got just about a week to go. But for the next week and through the end of the month, it is employee pricing at Richard Carr. That means you pay what employees pay. Qualified buyers right now can save over $7,000 on 2020 Acadias or Yukons, or save over $6,000 on GMC Terrains. They've also got the Buick Encore, the crossover SUV right now, only $19,900 for that roomy interior, quiet ride, and latest technology that comes with the Buick Encore. That's a savings of $6,000 on a 2020 Encore model. If you're looking for luxury, style, and power in an SUV, well, don't settle. Drive the Cadillac line, the XT4s, the XT5s, and the even roomier 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. Experience the thrill of owning a Cadillac XT4 right now for only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. They've got great prices. You get free oil changes when you buy a new vehicle. And when you buy a new vehicle, you also have in-town priority warranty service that all comes with your purchase. Richard Carr Motors are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor Bear alumni. They want the chance to earn your business, so stop by that daily disinfected showroom, see their safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home, because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them at Richard Carr, that's KARR.com, or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What are you supposed to do when you pull up behind a truck that doesn't even have a hitch? I mean, it's like looking at plumber's crack. Do you cover your kids' eyes, look away, and switch radio stations? Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, asking for your help to end this embarrassing form of truck nudity. If you have a truck, at some point you need to pull something. It could be a trailer to haul stuff off to the dump, maybe a jet ski, a boat, an RV, a horse trailer, even just a bike rack. The point is, put a hitch on your truck's backside. And at Pickup Outfitters, we actually install more hitches than anything else. Whether it's a receiver hitch, a gooseneck, or a fifth wheel, we'll cover your aspirations to not drive a nude truck. And all hitches are covered by the Pickup Outfitters Lifetime Installation Guarantee. So cover your rear end with a new hitch from Pickup Outfitters on Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we're fighting to end truck nudity in Central Texas. Check them out on our website at createacommotion.com/hitches.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
I think I need to make a trip to Riverbend this weekend, actually.
Oh, yeah?
I do. It's a fantastic deal. Just go up and you say, hey, here's what I need. And they go and they get it, and then they bring it out to me.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
Have nice customer service. I'm still all for the full-service gas station return.
Yeah, we need that. I don't know why that hasn't caught up more steam.
I don't know, but...
would you pay an extra, let's say... $5 for your
somebody to fill up the gas tank for me, wipe down my windows, check whatever they do?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, I would.
Especially in your... when I can tell you this, when I had an older car, abso-friggin-lutely.
No, definitely.
I would love that to,
I cannot explain the stress for somebody out there who's maybe riding a car down to its last legs. I did that up until like 3 months ago, and the difference is just amazing. It's like it's incredible.
The three of us on this radio show have all driven cars down to just down to the nub.
Yeah.
I mean,
Smokey and I, both the last cars we had up until, I got one, and then he just very abruptly got one a couple weeks later, and he was not really planning on it, but maybe he saw my new ride and was like, you know what, I need to do that too, and maybe he saw just how stress-free I was compared to, man, if you don't, if you're always driving in a pretty nice car, you maybe don't understand the feeling of when you're not, and every day is an adventure of whether or not it's going to overheat, or that tire's flat again, or the AC's not working, or whatever the case may be. I went through all of those sometimes all in one day, and just the peace of mind is so nice to have. That's why you need to swing through and visit some of our great sponsors, because they're offering great deals right now, and it's a good time to get a new car.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's funny though. I remember I bought mine a couple years ago, and it was like such a relief to have a car I liked driving for the first time in forever.
Mm-hmm.
But it is weird when you have all this thing with Smokey. I mean, he just was determined that car was going to disintegrate.
Well, I asked him the other day, I was like, do you miss driving it? And he did not, even a little bit.
No.
And I think it's just one of those, even my car was just a dumpster fire, man. And I just, I enjoyed having it paid off after a while, and that was really nice to not have a car note every month.
But then you have so many other problems.
But then I was paying even more money to get it fixed every 3 or 4 weeks, and so really it got to the point it's just like, this just isn't worth it. I'm actually still losing money, even though I'm not even paying a car bill, because I'm paying monthly maintenance fees on this thing. But no, I asked him if he missed his car, because you get that nostalgia feeling, I guess. And no, he has not missed it at all. And I haven't thought once about mine since I got rid of it.
I've not missed. Let's see, I've had 4 cars before this one, and I've not missed one of them once they're gone.
No, because it's always an upgrade.
Yeah,
it's always an upgrade. So I will say one thing that we did not touch on with Major League Baseball last night. Hopefully, and I'm sure this joke's been told a million times nationally by now, but hopefully we are doing a better job with the pandemic than Fauci did with his first pitch last night. Did you see his first pitch?
I did.
It's amongst the worst ones that you'll see. I don't know if it's 50 Cent bad or if it's, Baba Booey bad, but it's right there in line with those. Did not get anywhere close to the plate. Didn't even get past the baseline. He threw it towards the first baseline about 10 feet to the right of the catcher. It one-hopped over the baseline, so it didn't even get all the way there. And no, it was not a good first pitch.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's doing better with the actual job that he has.
Look, I'm all for Look, if my science nerd that's in charge of the pandemic isn't a good athlete, I'm fine with that. Stay in the lab,
No,
buddy.
I mean, that'd be cool. If he was out there
Apparently
throwing
he was a good
strikes, then
apparently he was a basketball player when he was younger. So I don't know, but that's still. I mean, I've watched other famous athletes get up and throw terrible first pitches.
Yeah,
so
not everybody is George Bush.
No, golly,
going out there and nailing it.
That's my
biggest first pitch moment maybe ever.
That's actually one of my favorite stories about Derek Jeter. Is that they had this little mat in front of the mound for the president to stand on, and Derek Jeter walked up to the president of the United States, which just shows you how cool Derek Jeter is, and says, "Hey, if you don't throw it from the rubber, they're going to boo you, right?" And George Bush goes, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, if you don't throw it from the rubber, you're going to get booed." And then it kind of hit him. He's like, "Man, this is a big moment in American, for the American public. I got to go out there and do it." Man, just nailed it.
He did.
Yeah.
He killed it, man. That was as good of a first pitch again that I've ever seen. That's for sure. I mean, given the circumstances, given the spotlight that was on it, given what the country needed at that time, that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, it was. It was. Let's see. Hold on. I got another text here from Carl. Paul and Craig, what are your thoughts on the Big 12 possibly looking at BYU for 1 year if they need to add a team due to most likely them playing conference games only? The ACC has Notre Dame, and that leaves Army and BYU out of conferences. I'd be all for it. I'd be all for them splitting that. If Army and BYU get kind of screwed out of games, I'd be all for the Big 12 just saying, okay, you teams, these teams get Army and these teams get BYU.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's been a topic of discussion. I mean, maybe that's been something that's been discussed a little bit. If not, and you're just riffing, I think it's a great question because I have not really considered the independents at all. Been more focused on just really what the Big 12 is going to look like. I'm not sure how that would work or how that could work. I'm trying to find their schedule right now to see who all's on there. But, an independent team like that who could have some scheduling issues, who's already been rumored to, kind of be a Big 12 team that's been – looked at by the conference as a possibility of being a future addition. Yeah, I mean, if there's a team out there that's available and is on par, at least talent-wise, with the majority of your teams, then sure. Because that is the thing is we're talking about the all-conference schedules. I mean, the Big 12 with only 10 teams, they're only going to have 9 games. Now, if they're going to go, if this thing that the Pac-12 is planning on doing of playing all conference games and playing all of your teams in your division and then playing a handful of teams from the other division and everybody needs to get to 10 games. And, the Big 12 is going to have to do something because somebody would have to play, potentially 3 times because if you're let's say Iowa State and the Big 12 decides all our options is to play somebody, everybody's got to play somebody twice, let's say at the beginning of the schedule, at the end of the schedule so that we can have 10 games. Well, then what if you have to go and play that team in the conference championship game too? Now, the odds of that would be very low, but still, that's something that could, that would be a problem. You don't want to play anybody twice, much less play them 3 times.
Yeah.
So, you'd have to keep that in mind with the schedule. I don't know why BYU's website is so daggum slow.
I've got their schedule up here. Okay, I got FBSschedules.com, by the way, Craig. That way it's
BYU's athletic site is terrible.
Yeah. So BYU's lost their first 4 games and their last game. They've lost Utah, Michigan State, Arizona State, Minnesota, and Stanford off the schedule. So they've only got 7 games on the schedule. Now, Army's not in any – they haven't lost any games at all because they have no Big 10 or Pac-12 teams on their schedule. So, as long as the teams, hold to that, I think that would be fine. I've actually been in favor of – if the Big 12 expands to 14 teams, I think they should add the service academies and pick another winner. But I know that there's probably some negatives to that I'm not seeing. But I would just like to see that. But yeah, BYU's got a real problem. BYU's got a huge problem in that they've only got 7 games, and that's so say if the SEC and the AAC decide that they're going to do the same thing. Then they're going to lose Missouri and Houston off that schedule too. So,
yeah, they've already canceled that Stanford game late in the year. It's actually was supposed to be their last game. Was against Stanford, but they've already canceled that because Pac-12 is going all conference. So then you mentioned like the first 3-4 games they have. Those are all off the table as well. So, yeah, they've had 5 games canceled. And, you know, we will see because if, like you said, SEC makes that decision, then Missouri would be off the table. And then we'll see with Houston. But, yeah, I mean, they're going to need some games, clearly, if they're wanting to play more than the 7 that they have currently scheduled. That could be more like 6 potentially. So, yeah, that's a team that would certainly to I guess it was Carl that asked that question to Carl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea and maybe one that they have to follow through with. You know, it's hard without seeing everybody else's schedule side by side. So I don't know if Baylor would need a November 28th game, for example, which is when the schedule had Stanford and BYU playing. But let's say that they did, then, hey, BYU's open, and let's go ahead and knock that one out now. They start playing BYU here pretty soon. Like in the next few years in a home and home. So that's already on the docket as it stands right now. Okay, Baylor will play K-State, so they could not play that Stanford game that is now open. But earlier in the year, if some non-conference games do get moved off their schedule like Ole Miss or Incarnate Word, then maybe BYU could be there. But there's going to be a lot of – it's like the high schools right now scrambling, trying to find teams to take a place on their schedule. You know, I would imagine that's – probably something colleges might have to do, but, man, that's going to be extremely complicated. It's going to be really interesting to see, like, when they make this decision because they're going to have so little time really to turn around and do too much with the remaining schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, when we come back, more SicEm365 Radio. Craig, do you think it would be too much if we played the Aranda interview again for anybody who missed it?
No. I think if you missed out on it, you missed out on a good one, and it's not all that often we get to hear from Baylor's head football coach. So, yeah, he was really good to talk to earlier.
We'll
this
probably
week.
do that not in the first break in the 5 o'clock hour, but maybe right after that so that we can hear, so that people can hear that. Again, going into the weekend, this is SicEm365 Radio. Are you in the market for a new home? Are you trying to sell your current home? Upsizing, downsizing, whatever you need a realtor in your corner who can guide you through anything you'll encounter. Call my good buddy Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team brokered by eXp Realty and let them be your go-to source as you search for that perfect home. Call Lance 254-214-3713 or visit his webpage for the most current listings, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com. Lance is a great guy. You're going to love looking at a house with him. You're going to love hanging out with him and talking to him. He's going to hear everything you have to say and bring it right back to you and find that dream home for you. Again, Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, 254-214-3713 or lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your very various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high-performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is SicEm 365 Radio.
On first down, Brewer, play fake, got time, delivers, catch made, Platt, Chris Platt, sprint for the end zone, touchdown Baylor. They sure did take their shot, 50 yards.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's Paul Catalina and Craig Smoke.
Welcome back to SicEm 365 Radio. In our next segment, we'll replay Dave Aranda from Tuesday's show.
Yeah, he was good. Got 20-something minutes with Dave Aranda, and you know, one of the things that I hear people, and it's not a complaint, it's just that I feel this way too, and I know that people want to hear this. They want to hear him, you know, get into the nitty-gritty of like the players and the formations and the schemes and the, you know, like I think we want to hear him talk like matchups and, you know, names and things like that. And he does drop a few names in there. You can tell he's getting to know the team a lot better. None of it is a knock on Dave Aranda. I just think everybody's kind of now ready for the type of stuff that we would normally be getting right now, which is, you know, like the roster and position battles and, hey, are you going to do single-digit jersey numbers and things like that? And there's so much that's uncertain that it's like, we don't know if we're going to have a game yet. Like, so we can't even really begin to delve too much. And and we know too, like they're getting better looks at players now, but until, you know, Fedora is out there, for example, with Charlie and that offense and having gone through some practices, it's just not going to be the same as talking to him when they haven't done any of those things.
No.
His knowledge is just not going to be where it will be once he learns more about his players and sees them on the field actually doing their thing. So I really enjoyed talking to Dave Aranda earlier this week, but I really, really am looking forward to the conversation that we have with him when the season has started, whenever that is, and we can actually, you know, hear, all right, what do you think about UT? And they're, you know, what do you see from from Oklahoma and things like that, or injury updates and just all the little news and notes and nuggets that people love, and that I love putting out there on Twitter. I'm looking forward to that.
I forgot about the single-digit jersey thing, and I wonder, because that was a whole big thing for Coach Rule, and so all those guys are still there. Save the ones that all the guys who had single digits for the most part are gone, right?
Yeah. Terrell Bernard is not a single digit, is he?
No, he was 28. So
he would be a candidate, though. I'm just trying to think of guys who Charlie was never a single digit, which is always like a thing we talked about. But if he was ever going to be, it would be this year. But Grayson and I discussed in the podcast, would he even want to bump off of having his regular number? He might not. Most guys do, though, take the single digit, even the guys you think that would not do that.
Blake Lynch is gone. Lockhart's gone.
Yeah.
All those guys are
Henry Black.
They're all gone. So
Chris Miller.
Yeah. So they're all done. And Graylin Arnold's gone. So all those guys that were single digits. So if you're a new coaching staff, do you have to oh yeah, it's not a big deal to me, but maybe it does mean something to the guys who are still there, though.
Yeah, I've heard, and it's hard to keep track of where all you hear everything from. It might be something I've just read on the forums, the premium section of SicEm365, or it might have been something I heard in passing conversation or something smoky. I don't know. So I don't remember where exactly this emanated from, but I have, though, heard somebody say that they were going to do the single digits. I just can't recall exactly where I heard that, and I can't recall whether or not it was more hearsay or is actually something Dave Aranda has said. I need to make a point to ask him that the next time we talk to him.
Yeah.
So I definitely will. But, I feel like I've heard that they're going to do that. And, even if the rule is still in place, they would have to change over the majority of those numbers. That's just the way that it worked out. So I don't see, a bunch of guys no longer holding those numbers as being that big of a deal because they were going to be replaced anyways. But I wonder how much more difficult it would be to identify those guys given the current climate and how much of what went into those decisions was stuff off the field, but a lot of it was, in practices and what the players thought about who was working the hardest, and that's why they voted the way that they did. And all
it wasn't an opening day thing either. It wasn't okay, well, this is game one.
No, we wouldn't know right now anyways. Yeah. We wouldn't know for another month or so probably.
Yeah.
So, there's still plenty of time to do that, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we'll eventually be able to get into with him. But, yeah, look forward to hearing him again here in a little while.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of notes that I'll pass along. Adrian Wojnarowski, his suspension ended today. The suspension handed down by ESPN after he made a email reply to a politician that promptly said, and the politician was Josh Hawley, U.S. Senator out of Missouri. He replied to Josh Hawley's email with a blank U, although he didn't say blank.
Yeah.
And they posted the screenshots pretty much right after they got that email back from Wojnarowski. I didn't think ESPN was going to do anything, although if they weren't to do anything, it was going to look really hypocritical. I just felt like they were big enough they don't care, but they surprisingly did make a move, and they suspended him. So his suspension is coming to a close today, and for all I know, he may be out there tweeting right now, but that was just something I had seen. So 2-week suspension for his offensive email. And I don't know really where you sat on this the first time, on whether or not he deserved it or not. But
I just think it's unprofessional to do that.
Yeah,
I would, if I were ESPN, I would suspend. I wouldn't, fire him.
No.
Unless he's got a pattern of this. But it's certainly unprofessional. And there's a lot of things that hostile on the I understand that most politicians don't really, for lack of a better term, act right, or carry themselves in a way befitting their esteemed position.
I cannot stand politicians.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't mean that you got to lower yourself to that level.
Right.
And I'm always of the belief, and it's very rare in my life now that I get down there, but it takes a lot for me to not kill somebody with kindness or just be professional and polite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's any way to go about your business,
Yeah.
and it's fine to get upset and have some emotion, but at the end of the day, you just got to be professional. You got to do it right.
Yeah, he should not be sending FU emails to politicians from his ESPN company account. That's just, you should not be doing that. But he is back on Twitter. I just looked, and his last tweet had been his little statement of his apology from 2 weeks ago. And now he's posted his first fresh tweet. Indiana's Domantas Sabonis has a significant foot injury and will leave the Orlando bubble to seek treatment from a specialist. So won't be the first, won't be the last story we see like that. But, yeah, Adrian Wojnarowski is back working with ESPN after his 2-week suspension for the bad email. Also, this was pretty interesting. Wisconsin Athletics, we were talking a bit about the schedules and things like that. Big Ten has made it known they're going to do the conference-only thing. But Barry Alvarez, their very famous AD up there, he said in a letter to supporters yesterday that the athletic department is expecting an approximate $100 million budget shortfall out of their $140 million budget, meaning they could make up to only $40 million in revenue for the upcoming athletic year. And you might go, $40 million? Like, what are they balking at? Well, I mean, the fact that it's normally $140 million and it now being only 40.
You earmark that.
Yeah.
You start saying, okay, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this.
Right. Yeah. And so you're budgeting that, and you're, making sure like, hey, this $10 million over here is going to be for this facility in the future, or these uniforms, or this addition to the stadium. But yeah, now $100 million being gone is pretty significant. He said, to this point, we've taken many steps over the past few months to minimize the impact of a canceled winter postseason and spring season. We've instituted pay decreases for our top 25 earners and work share furloughs for all employees, put a freeze on all hiring, restricted travel, limited to essential-only spending, and announced the delay of the South End Zone renovation project. These steps have allowed us to avoid the tough decisions other schools have already had to make, like eliminating sports or laying off employees. We have taken many steps, but we will have to do much more. Our fall season will look nothing like we are accustomed to. Due to the current challenges, we're facing a potential financial revenue loss of more than $100 million from our $140 million budget. So that's pretty significant. That's pretty significant. We've talked to Mac Rhodes about, not having the money that you were expecting and how that alters things, but expecting 140 and only getting 40. It's like you're expecting to have $20 to spend and they hand you $4.52. Yeah. Well, wait a second. I had $20. No, you got $4.52 to spend now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because it's not like, I don't think people think of it. They don't think of it like this. Like I know how much money I'm going to make a year, so I can budget that out. But it's I guess you can't. You don't think of it in that terms, but you do think of it like, okay, well, I know that say you make $50,000 a year. Well, then in that year, all of a sudden, you lose your job, or you have, a tree falls through your house, and then that money that you're going to spend on the vacation goes away because you got to, close up the hole in your house from the tree. So, yeah, that's kind of what's happened to college athletics right now. By the way, the NFLPA Board of Representatives voted to adopt by a count of 29-3 the proposed amendments of the 2020 collective bargaining agreement to protect our players' health, safety, and well-being. That's a quote from the NFLPA. So
So training camps open on time.
So training camps will open on time. And I never really thought that they wouldn't.
No.
But I thought that this might get pushed.
Yeah, so the update on here, so basically the nuts and bolts of it is that players will get to work next week. These training camps will open up. They'll obviously be very different. Cowboys aren't going to be out in Oxnard and all that jazz. But among the agreements, pending player approval and all that, 80-man roster deadline will be August the 16th. And that'll be before their first padded practices. But you can have 90-man rosters if you decide to go with the split squad setup. It also means that the salary cap will remain at the close to $200 million per team that it was set to be for 2020, and they've set the cap for 2021 as well. Also be a fund established to pay back any benefits eliminated as a result of COVID-19 up to 2023, as well as paying back any lost guaranteed money to players, which was probably the biggest sticking point, quite frankly. NFL players considered high risk for COVID can earn $350,000 in an accrued season if they choose to opt out of the 2020 season. Players without risk can earn $150,000 for opting out. So that's not a bad gig if you're not a big star player. But, no matter really what level of player you are, but if you feel like you just don't want to play, at worst, you can still earn $150,000. That's not a bad deal there. Players who make a team's cut get a $300,000 stipend if the season is canceled and no games are played. If a season is canceled before the cut down date, Players who are on a team in 2019 will get $250,000. So, they've voted to approve changes, and 3 dissenters is what you said. Be interested to know who those guys were. But, I mean, it looks like bottom line is they've ironed out the details they needed to iron out, and so the NFL moves on along as scheduled rather than running into the same types of problems that, let's say, baseball had, for example, there for a little while where they couldn't quite get everything sorted out. Now it appears as though things have gotten sorted out. So that's, hey, I'm not knowing what to do with all this good news going on right now.
Yeah. All right, when we come back, we'll hear from Dave Aranda, Baylor head coach. This is SicEm365 Radio.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7, and personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's summer. Time to go somewhere in a new Jeep from Allen Samuels. It's our huge summer clearance event featuring 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on our hottest models. Pick a new 2020 Jeep Cherokee Latitude with $5,750 in total values, or 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or the fun 2020 Jeep Renegade with up to $7,000 in total values, or 0% for 72. Adios 2020s from Allen Samuels.
We're fighting hard at Pickup Outfitters in our battle to end truck nudity. But it's not just about putting an outfit on a naked truck. It's about making sure you have the very best customer service. So we offer the Pickup Outfitters Lifetime Installation Guarantee. Over time, sometimes your outfit needs a little tune-up, maybe some tightening, adjusting, whatever. If you outfitted your truck at Pickup Outfitters, that tune-up is absolutely no charge for the remainder of the time you own that truck. We also offer free warranty assistance. If for any reason you need to use your warranty, you just bring it back to us and we take care of it. It just makes sense. I mean, operating without a promise like that would be like offering customer service in the nude. And if you've seen our staff, trust me, you don't want that. So do your part to end truck nudity by outfitting your truck, Jeep, SUV, or van at Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we promise to serve you fully clothed. Check out our website, createacommotion.com.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Log on to the Willis Law Firm chat room on SicEm365.com.
Welcome back into SicEm 365 Radio. In just a second, we'll have our interview from Tuesday with Baylor head coach Dave Aranda.
And Dave Aranda and this Baylor football team, very much a part of the preseason awards talk and hype. We've seen Terrell Bernard now pick up, 3 or 4 different preseason honors, watch list honors. Today, another one added, not for Terrell Bernard, though. Charlie Brewer selected to the preseason Maxwell award list. He has played in 35 games at Baylor now, which I guess isn't surprising when you think of him, playing and starting as a freshman pretty early on in that year. But still, he's got a lot of skins on the wall now at this point as he enters his final season, his senior season. He was an all Big 12 by the Athlon and Phil Steele magazine. Had been named to that earlier this preseason. Also was put on the watch list for the Davey O'Brien Award. He'll, I'm sure, be the Earl Campbell Award nominee as well for Baylor, or one of their nominees, as he was last year. He was a Davey O'Brien semifinalist last year. But, yeah, he's racking up the preseason honors. So the Maxwell given to the best player in the country will be potentially something that Charlie Brewer can go out there and grab and earn potentially. But he's at least getting some love for it. So that's cool to see that. So just a little more preseason nuggets for you.
All right, so here we go. This is Dave Aranda from our interview on Tuesday.
Been an up and down day of emotions if you're a football coach in McLennan County. If you had...
I'm sorry, that's not the file I just sent over.
So never mind. It's not Dave Aranda from Tuesday.
Well, it is that file, but it's not the one I thought that I just did. So
we'll have him at some point.
We may just have to. I might be able to scrub this a little bit over. Hold on.
In the meantime,
it was about.
We do have more UFC this weekend.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this on the fly, so forgive me. I'm just guessing where it was on the other file. So we'll miss some of this stuff, but it was about 2. I'm just trying to do it by my vision here. So we'll.
Your instruction
All right.
and your virtual meeting within the Texas High School Football Coaches Association. Some coaches blowing up phones saying, man, when he gets in front of that board or that video or those X's and O's, he just beams. How did you think it went?
Oh, it was fun to do. I appreciate you guys having me on today, but to have the opportunity to get in front of the Texas high school coaches, there's so much respect for them, and just have been in other states and have dealt with whether it's football or it's recruiting in other states, and just to when you're in Texas and you visit a school and they want to talk ball and you end up taking notes and you're learning from them, and when you're recruiting an athlete and there's a straight line recruiting element where we're keeping kind of side parties out of it, and it's the coaches and it's the parents and the college coaches that are in it. You can't ask for more than that. So to be in front of them and share a little bit was fun. The thing about clinics a lot of times is that you can have a give and take. So there, it was a little bit different not having that, but hopefully here coming up we can get back to how it used to be in that respect.
Coach, I got to watch a little bit of you and a little bit of Coach Fedora yesterday on the clinic, and I just got to tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Watching a coaching thing, from a broadcaster's perspective, academically, and watching you guys really kind of get into what you do, a bit kind of even beyond an X and O level of mentally. You and Coach Fedora seem pretty similar in the fact that you both like to kind of break down percentages and numbers. Is that kind of what attracts kind of a coaching staff together, is when you get around and say, okay, we all kind of see this in a similar fashion, at least in the way that we prepare?
Yeah, I think, the people that are, Larry's been successful at all the stops he's been. And so he does that, he uses his people. He can recognize angles and leverage, and he maximizes that. He can maximize matchups and personnel. And then I think, Larry does a great job of just understanding the other side. I think, his knowledge of defense is very strong, and he's able to recognize formations and how people line up the formations and be able to get mismatches and get advantages for our side and then take advantage of them, and so to just share with him throughout this time, I've learned a lot, and excited. I was able to catch later on some of his talk, and it's been like everything else he's done, and so impressed.
Coach, from your perspective, what is right now like? I mean, we see the testing numbers that come out. We see some of the pictures on social media of the guys back on the field. But what's sort of going on right now as far as what you're able to do with the players and all that, and where Baylor football is in the process, so to speak?
Yeah, this time right now would be normal summer. And so if there was such thing as a normal summer, we're in that mode right now for 2 weeks, and this is the second of the 2 weeks. So starting on Saturday for us, we start our OTAs, which will end up having 11 of those. And so as regards to this week, it would be 2 hours of football, video review. And then it would be 8 hours of strength and conditioning work. And so, they're in there a lot with Corey Campbell and our team. I think our conditioning has improved dramatically as we've gone on here, and the strength gains are strong. And I think guys are getting excited about the gains that they've made, and our ability to be on the field for them. Just, last week was the first time, I think, on the practice field that we were on the field with the team, and it was an exciting time. And we've got another one of those here today, where we can take them through 30 minutes of individual and be able to spend some time with them, get to know kind of how guys move and how they learn, and they get to know us. And then, we had earlier this morning some installs and some review off of some old game tape. So, that part has been really good. I'm really looking forward to Saturday, and that will provide us an hour of install or team meeting, followed by an hour walkthrough, and that'll be, individual, that'll be group work, that'll be team. So there'll be blitz in there, there'll be, team. First couple of days will be first and second down, then we start getting third down. After about day 3, day 4, I think, is third and long. Again, into red zone, short yardage, all of it. And so, it's coming. We're all excited for it.
Yeah, is that kind of what you've been waiting for? It is. I know you want to still get into what is the normal routine, whatever that might ever be again. But this is where you get your hands so-called in the players. I know it's field turf, or sometimes it's grass and dirt. Isn't that really what you've been waiting for?
Yeah, I think you really get a feel of your team and just how they respond when adversity comes. Let's say there's you're in some form of a competitive drill. Eventually, a lot of those type situations are going to come once fall camp comes. These OTAs are really opportunities for us to kind of pave the road, so to speak, to get us so that when we do get to fall camp, it's not as rocky. It's cleared out, and we can hit top speed maybe a little bit faster than if it wasn't for these OTAs. And so, just talking with Matt Powledge about this earlier about special teams, I think we'll have 5 opportunities for special teams, and kind of setting. And this is the first time Matt's been on the field with special teams, And so his ability to kind of like, this is how this drill works. This is how it's set up. Here's the coaches I've got helping coach. This is our stations. This is how we do it. And all of that combined in the OTAs with the social distancing that's got to occur, and rightfully so. And so that's that is kind of a learning stage for all of us, and we're looking forward to attacking it. And when we do get to fall camp, we'll be able to really start some competitive stuff and really hit another level. But to get on the field with 11 on 11 is what we've been waiting for. So excited for it.
With all the recruiting things that have changed, a lot of times during the summer, you guys would be doing a lot of that in-person recruiting, which you haven't been able to do, and that keeps kind of getting pushed back, and you're going to have to adapt with that as well. But how has that changed how you guys have focused on getting ready for anything that might come your way, scheduling-wise, for just the team you have on campus this season?
You're talking about just in terms of recruiting and how
and like just the time that you would normally spend doing that. Now you have, how do you kind of repurpose that? I gotcha. Yeah. So it can be a good thing. It could also be it can be a bad thing too. I think I was down in a coach's office and they were looking at 2014 NFL film. That kind of tells you when that happened. We're digging deep in the crates, and so I think like the ability to, as coaches, right, when just the more you're kind of, you're separated, your mind starts going, right. You recognize, problems, I think you want to be able to address those problems. You want to have the pen last. And I think, all of our guys are all on the same page with it's a player's game, that players play the game, players win games, and we've got really good players. And so getting them in the best shape we can, getting it to where everybody is safe and everybody's working by the guidelines and practicing social distancing, wearing masks, doing all the right things. And so that when a Saturday in fall comes and we can get everybody that we can, on the trip, on the sidelines, available to play. I think, college football, the way, where it stands now, you're looking at offense, defense, special teams, and contact tracing. Those are the major components of who's going to win or lose that game. And so to be able to do things right day in, day out, so proud of our guys and our health and wellness team, our assistant coaches and the messaging they've had. I think we're doing the right things, but to focus in on the players and to build up their repertoire and their tools is really where the time's got to be spent, because it's going to be a player's game, especially early on. There's not a lot of guys that have had double teams where they had to root out a 3 technique on a 3rd and 1 to get a conversion to keep the chains moving. There's not a lot of people that have played a true half and have had to flip and zone turn, make a play in the other quarter of the field. And those are all things that we've got to really spend time on, to hone in on, get our players to play the best of their ability.
Given the lack of, face-to-face contact at this point, you've had some, but not nearly what you would like to have had. Have you still been able to identify guys leading or stepping up to become leaders, or your seniors, even though there's not a ton of those guys, embracing that role now that it's, quote-unquote, their time?
You feel that, yeah. I think, as from the time that we've been on the field with them and and then in talking with some of our players about just like their wishes for what this camp's going to look like, for what this team's going to look like, and just how much you could sense how much it means to them and how much they're putting into it. You could see guys emerge. I'm really looking forward to here Saturday, because having 11 guys out and having the ability to have 11 on 11 and to be able to see who's communicating, who's stepping up, who's taking charge. I mean, that's when I think there's really going to be some true separation. But whether up front on D-line, where it's Chitty, and linebacker wise, you talking about Terrell's continue to do a great job leading. You got JT in the back end. You got Petrie in the back end, really strong leaders have done a great job. R.J. Sneed on offense, and J-Mo on the offensive line has been a vocal leader for us. Charlie, of course, really impressed with him and his growth that way. I think off season he's really focused in on finding his voice, and he's a different guy. I know when he's on the grass, but off the field, I feel like he's really grown. And so to get everyone together and see how all that meshes, I'm proud of all the work that's gone into it, because it's been something else. You talking about Kenny Boyd and what he's had to go through, and Mac and the battles he's fought, and just keeping everybody safe and doing the right things. I'm blessed to be here and be a part of it.
Coach Aranda with us on SicEm365 Radio. We had Gary Anderson, who is Utah State. You know him. You've been with him on a couple of different occasions, and he discussed how someone can sit in a room when you're in front of whatever it is, looking at film or breaking down film, and it kind of reminds them of back when they were in college and they had a professor that they enjoyed, of a topic or a subject that they enjoyed. When did that come so natural to you?
I don't know. There's I don't know. I think when I was in college, I was just on a Big 12 call, and I was on there with Tom Herman, and he was bringing up the Kalu days, and so he was around that time. I would be driving up and down the state in California. I'd go to, I would travel to Arizona State, Washington, Oregon, in my car, and visit with coaches and take notes and learn and all of it. And I think just the ability to always learn and always grow that's been there. And so I think when you're kind of looking inward to find answers and find solutions, and there's got to be a deeper meaning here. There needs to be a better solution here, or there has to be a better way here. When that's always kind of the mindset, and then understanding how that people learn differently, and so finding ways that all of this can be communicated in a much easier way as well. And here's the way to do it. And spending time on all those things, I think all of it can pay off. And so it's from a very early age, I guess that was the case. But I know there was a time though where I remember I would watch action movies, and I'd want to be that action character. I never really kind of set out to be a professor, but I guess it ended up happening that way.
Well, so. Look, the coolest ones like Tony Stark are both, right, Coach?
Yeah.
I mean, he's both. I mean, he can invent, and he's also the superhero. So you can just start calling yourself the Tony Stark of coaches.
That's it.
How important was it for you to finally be able to see your family here in Waco when they finally arrived after such a long delay? I know what that means to you. What was that like, and has that actually helped maybe even make you feel better about everything that they're here?
Oh, I have. Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, just sleeping. I thought just having I don't know. There's a time where so it's been a while we've been apart. So just having them here, just getting a good night's sleep, and knowing that they're with you, and saying good night to them, and the whole thing. So this evening, right, I'll get home and be able to spend some time with each of them, and they're transitioning from all their friends that they had. So we're 4 years there in Louisiana, and so they're meeting new people in the neighborhood and everything, and they're always excited to talk about their day. But it when you're in a house or ain't no one in there, it's a weird deal. So if the home comes when your family arrives.
Yeah, I bet that quiet was only good for about a day, wasn't it?
It is a weird deal. It's not, the hotel is almost better because it's kind of understood that that's where you're at, and you got a bed right in front of a TV, and you can watch Sports Center and kind of deal with it. But when you're in a big old house, it's too quiet, and it's just doesn't seem, a house is built for people and families. And I got there's probably a TikTok going on right now, at the Aranda house. So we're back to normal.
Zoom, TikTok, all these things now that are a part of everything. Craig?
Coach, I saw where you added, Joshua Atkinson as a member of your staff. He's a young up-and-coming coach, and there's just the various, GAs and all those guys, and we've known about your main staff for a while now. But when you're looking at a young coach and deciding on whether or not to bring them into the program, have them around, what are some of the traits you're looking for?
They put players first. They pour into the players, that they know. They spend time to know their players and look to find ways to serve their players. And heard so many positive things about Josh, and then the work ethic that he has, the character that he has, and so he seemed like it would be just a great fit here. And so far, so good. And we're really impressed with him, and the mentality that he brings. I think he's a worker. He's got a budding family here, so excited to have him. And on top of it being just a really good coach, But I think when I look at Baylor, I look at character, and I look at how character drives winning, and I look at up and down, whatever sports program you want to name. Character drives winning here, and so when we're hiring coaches, we want really, really strong character, and really excited about Josh. He fits that bill.
I've been told this by one of your assistants said this to me, that and a couple of others as well. Baylor's mission, and no one is perfect, but Baylor and what they stand for. Is there another college you could imagine that probably their mission statement is Dave Aranda's mission statement?
No, I can't think of one. When I first talked with Mac Rhodes on that introductory call, you could feel it. And so I know getting off that call, and I think we were getting ready for the Oklahoma game, and going back into the kitchen, talking to Dion, my wife, about, hey, this call was really good. There may be something right there. It just felt like it was a match, And then the other piece I bring up was when we were already here, and I think I may have already mentioned this to you guys, but when Baylor was playing Kansas in basketball, and a lot of our student body were hanging out in the arena for the next morning game day, and being there with some of the ESPN guys. I think we were handing out donuts. I can't remember what it was, but just meeting student body, they just remind me of my kids. They remind me of my daughters. They remind me of my son. And so that was a big deal to me, because it's like, I already know, I don't know you, but I already know you. Mm-hmm. And so it's good to be where you feel you belong.
Do you have the ability to clear Michael Caputo as a guest on our show? Because I've been told he can impersonate you.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I don't know. I know that's a Utah State thing. They were calling me. They would call me at LSU, and they go, Dave, what have you done to Mike? Because he talks just like you. And I go, I didn't do anything to the young man, but apparently, I know he's going to whisper in your ear if we get him on the phone with you. So I apologize in advance.
Yeah, I was given a little nugget on that, and of course, what a player he was for you at Wisconsin as well, and he's a part of your staff now, right?
Yeah, Mike's great. Mike's, the whole way through with Mike, just the mentality of a fighter, the just really, really smart, strong character, great work ethic. I mean, you want to ride and die with Mike Caputo, and so you can depend on him, and he's gonna connect with people. He's going to treat people right, and so we're blessed to have him.
Dave Aranda with us on SicEm365 Radio, about to go back on the field himself here pretty soon with us for a couple more questions. Paul?
What's it like this time at the beginning of your tenure at a school where you can start to see guys maybe come out of their shell, get a little more comfortable with you guys, and even guys who have leadership potential but might have been in the background before start to realize that it's their time? That's got to be exciting as a coach.
No, it is. And I think, what's added to that is just everything that that so far, this year has brought, whether it's COVID-19 and quarantine and the ability to get to know your people through that, through the social unrest and the ability to talk to your players about that. This morning we talked about John Lewis, and we talked about his legacy, and I've so much respect for him, and we showed a video of him that he did of CNN and talked about the sit-ins in Nashville, the counter sit-ins, and so I think when you talk to your team about these types of things, and you're investing time with them, getting to know them as people, and then to get to know the player after that, I think it makes it even more special.
Dave Aranda with us on SicEm365 Radio. There was yesterday news that one of your players is now able to join the team again in Logan Compton, who has been through quite the journey and also the things that happen in life. Have you had a chance to visit with him about welcoming him back on the team and what he will mean to get back into Waco when that happens?
I did. I talked to him yesterday. I've talked with him in the past and his family, and I'm happy for him. You look back at Logan's situation, and it just, just a horrible accident. So sorry for the other family, and you feel for that. Even in a time like this, my heart goes to them. And at the same time, I'm happy for Logan. I'm happy that he gets an opportunity. I know that we're looking forward to welcoming him on our team and getting him around our guys. And everything I've heard about Logan from whether it's Sean or Joey or David have been just very, very positive. And so excited to be able to get to know him.
Dave, last thing. Paul brought up the recruiting, and it's obviously been you guys have had a really nice run despite all of this. Is this because of the success you've had as a defensive coordinator and also what happened with LSU? Is this because of the fact that your staff is so diverse in many different ways? And also, how much of it is what you can be, even in a Zoom-type setting or FaceTime, real with the young men or the families that they live with?
Well, I think it's our staff. I think, first of all, I think it's Baylor. And I think it's, it's Matt Rule. I think it's what he's really, he's poured into. I think there's a legacy there. I think it's Joey McGuire, Sean Bell, Wetzel, and what they poured into Baylor. I think people see that. And I think it's, the overall staff, just their ability, we talked about earlier, they're high character people, and they treat people right, and they recognize and see the good in people, and they're really attracted to drawing the good out. And so I think anytime that you're in a spot where there's not a lot going on, and you can sit down and have a conversation with someone that generally cares about you and generally wants to help you, advantage us, advantage Baylor, and it's been that way here throughout, and I think we will continue to show that.
Phil Bennett said he took Eddie Lackey from you when you were in Hawaii.
Yes, yeah, we had him. We had Eddie. Yeah, that might be my biggest one that got away right there. Well, I don't halfway blame Eddie, but he would have made some plays for the Rainbow Warriors too, though.
He had some great things to say about what you do. Dave, thank you very much. I know you're about to go into a workout. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it, and it's great that your family's now with you, and good luck, and we'll see you very soon, we hope.
Thank you. We'll see
Dave
you guys.
Aranda. Yes, sir. Dave Aranda, head football coach at Baylor with us.
There you go.
On
There's
SicEm
our
365
replay of the
radio.
Dave Aranda interview from Tuesday. You can find that on SicEm365.com or anywhere you get podcasts. We're back to wrap it up right after this. This is SicEm 365 Radio.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home. How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is SicEm 365 Radio. The SicEm 365 Radio poll is brought to you by Pickup Outfitters, where everything purchased and installed comes with our famous lifetime installation guarantee and free warranty assistance. 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
Welcome back in. Just closing out the show here as we head into the weekend. Troy Baker will join us on Monday. It's about time we had Troy Baker. It's been dodging us too long.
We've had Eddie Lackey now on a couple of times. We've had, Dave Aranda, Mac Rhodes have been a couple of repeat guests. But, no, we still got plenty of first-timers, so to speak. And Troy Baker's definitely one that I know was very high on you and Smokey's list in particular. I got to see a little bit of him early on, like maybe his last couple of years, but I didn't know him to the level that you guys did during that time period. So, no, it'll be good to catch up with him. Smokey will be back on Monday. He's officially not missing work as of 5 minutes from now. Like he's his 2 days away or over, so he'll enjoy Florida for another 24 hours or so and then be back here. And I know that he had made mention of some others that we've got lined up as well. I'm having trouble recalling them. But, yeah, Troy Baker for sure, and I know there's already some other guests lined up.
And I know we'll have Scott Pasetnik and David Murphy at different times next week.
And we'll have a full weekend of baseball. Actually, 4 games going on right now. You got Tigers, Reds, got Blue Jays and Rays, Marlins, Phillies, and Brewers, Cubs all I guess Marlins, Phillies, and Brewers, Cubs are warming up. They're about to get started. But, yeah, Tigers, Reds, and Rays, Jays just kicked off here in the last few minutes. And, again, tonight, Rangers and Rockies at 7:05. They're at the new ballpark in Arlington. And then Astros hosting the Mariners tonight at 8:10. So, first game for both of those clubs.
They're piping in crowd noise at the Trop.
Are they?
Which would be the first time there was ever crowd noise.
That might be permanent for them.
I'm serious. Like it's quiet. It's so quiet there that like if you pass gas on row 7, people in like row 30 are like, "Hey, man."
Well, yeah, no. The family that Smokey's actually with right now, or his side of the family, they all live in Florida. All 4 of his brothers do, or 3 of his brothers do. And anyways, his brother Mike, he's got 3 daughters, and one of those daughters is getting married tomorrow, Elizabeth. Shout out to her and her future husband, and I hope it all goes very, very well. But they, for the longest time, and I don't know if they still are, it's been a while since I've talked to them, but for the longest time, they were Rays season ticket holders because it was pretty cheap, and I think that maybe even at one point they weren't even season ticket holders, but it was so easy to get tickets that you didn't really need to be. Like, you could just show up at any game, at any time, on any day, and end up with really good seats because of how lackluster the crowds are. So, yeah, that might be a permanent move for the Rays, piping in crowd noise.
Yeah. By the way, Notre Dame and the ACC are trying to work out a deal where Notre Dame would join their conference for this season only. So.
And I think you made mention during the break of, I guess the details they're still trying to iron out would be if they're eligible to play in the conference championship game and do all that, which – I mean, if you're going to be a member for a year, then I think you should get all the benefits of being a member. And especially since you're going to be outside of Florida State, Clemson, really that's kind of it as far as big brands go. North Carolina is going to have a lot of hype, but they're not really a huge
I mean, they're going to be a huge deal.
But but they're not like a blue blood football program, I'm saying.
They play half of their schedule or 5 games in their schedule in it anyway.
Yeah, but like, if you're Notre Dame, you're the biggest team already outside of Clemson. So I would definitely want